negotiations. It's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation.
Remix money.
Hail Mary, full of grace. Hail Mary, full of grace. Hail Mary, full of grace. I swear that's what she said. Shawty looking at me, she's a flirt. An all-night creeper, let her know I put in work. But it's something I gotta teach her. Bust it open, bring it back. I'll be ready to attack. Got an automatic weapon, it go plat. She's a wifey in the street, sweet like a dove. Key in her ignition, now she rolling with a thug. She know that I keep her strong, and you know where I'm from. It's that Chi-Town boy, and I got these honeys speaking in tongues. In tongues. In tongues. In tongues. I got them all speaking in tongues.
She be like, Ludacris, don't nobody give it to me like you do. I cast a spell on them. They be think I'm doing voodoo. Can't understand the words you saying. You need a translator. I aim before I shoot, then I assassinate her. She be catching that Holy Ghost. She at a loss for words. Said she really wanna wet the fabric, so I'm a softened nerd. Was a good girl when I met her, and she was so pure. Now I got her in the back room talking about I know her ain't get cured. That's what you get when you messing with the boys in the hood that's from the south. We be like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? She got just what she wanted, and she know I'm home. I guess that's why it seems.
I got these honeys speaking in tongues. In tongues. In tongues. In tongues. I got them all speaking. She was 6 days a week, get off on a Sunday. Come on late night and then I eat it. She know that I'm happy with more money than collection. She tired, she sliding on me like a tidal wave. I mean, Shawty's so fine, you need to pray.
Official Dana J, Prima Donna News. I don't even want to see it.
But I know that there's more. More for you, more for us.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking that pandemic.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking that pandemic.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking that pandemic.
Say you love me, what you gon' do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We love tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spank you. That ass count, gotta make it last now. Spread out so, then I'ma beat it up.
You done fucked with the wrong one, bro. You know that, right? boy, you was a clown ass nigga, I swear to God. Funny as fuck. But you done fucked with the right one. I guarantee you gonna find that out. You done fucked with the wrong one, bro. You know that, right? boy, you was a clown ass nigga, I swear to God. Funny as fuck. But you done fucked with the right one. I guarantee you gonna find that out. You done fucked with the wrong one, bro. You know that, right? boy, you was a clown ass nigga, I swear to God. Funny as fuck. But you done fucked with the right one. I guarantee you gonna find that out. You done fucked with the wrong one, bro. You know that, right? I guarantee you gonna find that out.
Hey, don't sleep.
Y'all thought I was playing. Y'all thought I was joking. I said he was coming. And he was coming to do damage. I said that. Nobody want to pay attention. I'm echoing? Hold on. 2. I'm echoing? Hold on. 2, 3. 2. Hold on. Check. Sound check. Sound check. All right. I'm telling you now, I want my apologies. I want my apologies. I shouldn't be echoing. I shouldn't be echoing. Hold on. Like I said, I want my apologies. I don't care what nobody say. Old man Need is here. I want my apologies. Texas Black Diamond down there going through hell right now. She, oh my God, I can't believe it. One stink puss. Well, Don Russell didn't do nothing wrong, and Don Russell and did that, and Don Russell. I don't care. I don't care what you got to go through, what you got to say. Just know that where was the lie? And we're going to rewatch it tonight. We're going to rewatch it tonight. And I'm sitting here laughing because motherfuckers really going to go through mental situations tonight. And ask me, do I give a fuck? Because I don't. Because at this point, y'all should be at a height where you're tired of people lying on Robert. And if you're not, then guess what? I can honestly say you're not for Robert. If you're not tired of people lying on Robert and you here for Robert, I can honestly say you're not for Robert. I listened to about 9 million goddamn lies tonight. About 9 million. And Early was asking questions. Oh my God. Early was asking questions like, so when the last time you talked to Rob? Oh, after 2018, I was done. So, let's get down to it. You said after 2018, you was done. Okay. Let's get down to it. You got a motion to continue surrender date, right? And you got to switch from 2/21/23 to 5/10/23, right? And Ann Donnelly agreed to it. The request for an extension of Mr. Russell's surrender date in this matter from February 21st, 2023 to May the 10th, 2023 is granted. Ordered by Judge Ann M. Donnelly on 1/30/2023. They don't do that unless you're working. Now, For the slow people that said, well, Don didn't cooperate. I'm going to ask you one question. What up, Progress? Progress 2 times in the building. If he didn't cooperate, how easy is it for him to jump on a platform now when nobody bullied him or made him do it? But it's hard for him to jump on a platform. No, I'm sorry. It's easy for him to jump on a platform now. So if he's doing this now when nobody's bullying him, got a gun to his head, saying nothing like that, what you think he did when the feds rolled up on him? When I told y'all that if Don ain't do what he did, Rob wouldn't have no charges. People told me that I was lying. Well, for y'all that didn't see it, you don't got to go rewatch it because you're going to rewatch it here. I'm going to be the one to put it on here. And I want you to be the judge for yourself. But before I do that, I just want to break some shit down. I was giving y'all parables time after time after time. And people be like, well, Dana, why don't you just give us the whole truth? 2 reasons. 1, if I give you the whole truth, you can say something to somebody else that's cool with him that can be countered. And he can counter it and get me put in some shit. So I held it all to me. Point number 2. Why didn't I put it all out there? All at one time? Because I know you can't handle the truth. And when I put the truth out there slowly but surely, some of you ate it and digested it well. Some of you threw it back up. And some of you were just like, I'm not accepting this. I'm not eating this. So what better way is to spoon feed you little by little? And then people ran to their channels. Dana don't know what you're talking about. Don, we support you. We support you. We support you. The only reason why he throwing Freeman under the bus is because y'all didn't support the habit of him paying Freeman. If you remember when they was in court, him and Freeman had an argument on open mic. You don't see Texas Black Diamond talking about that. You don't see dude in Bolingbrook talking about that. You don't see the cousin talking about that. You don't see the dude in Houston, Texas talking about that. So I just let it play along. I let it play along. And the way I like it is, I believe in draining the swamp. The question is this: we are at the end of the line. 4 years, Dana going to jail. Dana with Azriel. Dana on this. And I have shown over and over who is doing what, who is where, who was with what, and Dana's hands continue to be what? Clean. So why haven't Dana been locked up? Y'all don't want the lawyers. Oh, don't trust DanaJay. This and this and this and this and this and this and this. You know why y'all went to the lawyers and told them that? Because while y'all secretly sit in the lawn and y'all got y'all lower chair and it stick out like a sore thumb, y'all the ones that got the notepad writing down everything I say and then try to take it back to your channel 2 days later and then try to flip it down, put it in reverse and it sounds stupid because I'm only giving you a little bit and you don't have the adjective to go with it. So when a lawyer come to you and say, well, tell me all about it, you can only give a little bit of to where I stopped. Why? Because you don't know the truth. You don't know the story. You don't know what happened. How is it that For years, Don wouldn't get on the same channel with me. He went to Choke No Joke, still wouldn't get on the same channel. But then when he finally did, he didn't answer none of my questions. And he had his affiliates lined up there, and I laughed at it all. He wouldn't answer none of my questions. But when I got off, I was all these B's and this, and I'm a clown, and I'm this, and I'm that. But as long as I was there, he was quiet. He was quiet. So, if you stopped dealing with Rob in 2018, how was we able to be on the same basketball team? How was Rob able to tell you, nigga, get the F out my face, I don't F with you, this and this and this and this? Because that was later 2019. That's why I'm glad Tia Ewing, and I ain't gonna front. I'm one of the ones that I keep it a buck. Me and Tia Ewing used to go at it all the time on social media. And we both kept it classy. So then I sit back and I say, how you doing, Angel Bird? So I sit back and I say, how is it that 3 things happen and 3 people are involved? Thing number 1, how is it that you give a lengthy interview with Tasha K? And Tasha K say, well, I sat up there and I looked at all the documents and this and R. Kelly team, and I'm so warm and I'm happy and this and he's coming home. Tasha K said that. Before she said it, I told the Dream Team, I said, she's with Don. Some people's like, oh, Dana, are you stretching? And then when it came out, they was like, how did you know? Nobody else talks to Tasha K. Nobody. And then you got to look at it. Whoever have the masters, the Sony portal, the signatures, the passports, that's who Tasha K want to talk to. You know what I'm saying? So, when that happened, I said, the shift has turned. The tide has turned. It's something else in the middle. Point number 2. Person number 2. Tia Ewing. When Don reached out, or however, they said that his wife reached out. Pay attention. His wife reached out. How would his wife even know about Tia Ewing and Don Russell? Even coming together to collab to do anything. How would his wife know about R. Kelly? How would his wife know about Tia Ewing not liking R. Kelly? How would his wife know about Don Russell even being in that predicament if she met him January 2022? However, she had to be planted somewhere. Where you going with this, Dana? I told y'all she was the connection to BOP Officer A, who I told y'all I believe, allegedly, was the Allison lady. Things are coming together if you sit back and watch. So, Don, how ironic that Don named his group the TAP Initiative, right? And it's masked right behind the TAP program that's ran for the feds. Then his wife have connections with the feds. If you look at her background and look at the stuff that she done, look back to a couple lives that I did, and I read her background. And she put that up there on LinkedIn, not me. I didn't make it up. She did that. So you see companies that were intertwined with the feds. And you sit back and you say, So as you sitting back with the aha moment, and you saying, okay, his wife is implanted. It's ironic that him and his wife just met. That just don't happen. It's just ironic that they got married 30 to 60 days after they met. So you sit back and you just be like, okay, Don been scheming for a while. Let's go back to the Tim Savage interview when he tried to tell him, go to TMZ. I got my man over there. He'll give you some money. How you know that? But see, people just often looked over the shit. Last point, number 3. I talked about the BOP Officer A. I talked about Tia Ewing. I talked about Tasha K. That's 3. Now I'm going to give you a bonus. Sharon Winbush. Where does Sharon come into play with this? Well, Sharon was talking to Don's mother all the time. Even Sharon Winbush got thrown for a loop. Because she thought she had it. She thought she had it locked in. Until one day, a little dark-skinned dude from a Baltimore, not from Chicago, from Baltimore, that got a lazy eye, went live and talked about Don Russell's mama. And Sharon said, ho, what's going on? And then when I talked about the masters, nobody believed me. But then when Sharon got that photo, that illustrious photo from the back of the U-Haul, and you see Don like this, reflecting through the silver of the U-Haul, everybody asks, how did you know? It's not for y'all to understand how I knew. What it was for y'all to understand is to follow the leader. And because too many people wanted to be the leader, nobody wanted to follow. Listen, in order to be a great leader, you have to be a great follower. And when you jumping into something that you know nothing about, but you jumping head first, that's how a lot of great leaders get chopped off and picked off in the beginning. Because you're trying to overtake been there when been there is trying to tell you how to get there. But you too stubborn, you trying to tell been there how to get there when he been there and trying to tell you how to get there. And that's how you get picked off, because you never been there. With that, I had to, what's the word I want to use? I had to infiltrate a lot of things. I had to infiltrate some groups. I had to infiltrate some circles. And I had to just sit there. And no matter how bad I wanted to respond, I had to sit there. Some groups that's on Facebook, I'm still there. You don't know I'm there, but I see the chaos that y'all doing. You would never know who I am in them groups, because I just like to sit there and watch. So it was said that Dana is this bad person. I was sent in to set up Kales, and I was the reason why he was locked up, and all these lies. So what I always told people is, when you run out of lies, right? You gotta add more lies. And when you run out of more lies, you gotta add more lies. But the problem is, the more lies you add, the more you forget. So I'll just sit back and throw my feet up. Like today, one of Don affiliates sat back and said, people don't have no life. They trying to associate me with Don Russell. Wait a minute. The number that got knocked off in Don's worksheet is the number you used to call me from. Then you went and lied to your folks. So I just had to go on my community wall real quick and remind you that A.R. Rich is the same one that called you and said, Don got some work for you to do. But you telling the people that you don't know A.R. Rich. But you in a photo, in A.R. Rich photo, in his studio that he do his podcast and stuff from. But you don't know him. Then you say, you don't know Don Russell. But you on wiretap talking about, yeah, I'm about to call Don Russell, see what's going on. I got Don Russell's personal number. Now, if I did all that, I would have been called a liar. Y'all would have been running 900 lives. DanaJay lied. He lied about this. No. Now that y'all ran out of all y'all lies to tell, let's spin that block. And let's talk about the people who really was in cahoots of setting R. Kelly up. See, I can withstand the rain. So while y'all singing New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain? I'm going to come back and I'm going to sing Old Boy version off of BMF. The rain keep falling. That's a whole different rendition. That's a whole different rendition. So understand this. One thing I hate to be called is a liar. And I'll hold on to that. And the first chance I get to bust your head open with it, I'm going to spin that block and do it. Now let's go here. They said, well, Dana doing this for cash apps. They even went to R. Kelly homies and said, Dana stealing from R. Kelly. The homies even called me with lawyers on the phone. Yo, are you sure you ain't take no money? I wish them homies was around now. Because I would ask a question. Did you take any money? Did you steal from him? You worried about me, and you know I can't do it. But what about you? What about the people you align to? What about the people that you listening to? And I was always told, if you listen to negativity, you're going to wear negativity. So when people come to me with that dumb shit, I listen and I laugh and I say, oh, okay. All right. I play it off there, but in my mind, I'm downloading. And I don't know if y'all heard that before, but y'all know us Baltimore dudes, we process differently. We download everything you say, everything you do, every movement, every capability, we download it. That means it never leaves. Even if you tweak it, we gonna download that. And I've downloaded everybody I came in contact with, good, bad, or indifferent. That's why you can't get me with shit. Because when my downloading completes, I'm going to hit Trinity up give me a wire. Time to escape from here. Because we in the Matrix. So let's get to something great. Let's get to something great. A lot of folks told me I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, I told y'all, Allison Walker was masked as somebody that didn't know anything. But Allison was also used on YouTube by Don and on Facebook by Don. Watch this. It says team fundraiser, not owner. And look who you see. Don Russell and 5 others are organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Allison Walker, whom Don used a picture, a Photoshop picture of a lady with vitiligo with a transsexual hands and some strong old legs. I called that out. People got mad. So this is the GoFundMe that he had on behalf of Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. So it says Roscoe's in the community feeding families in need. Okay. Why do you need $100,000 gold, right, to feed Allison Walker and her family? But you saying feeding families, but I just see one person. Which means it lead me to believe that not only was Allison Walker gonna get that, but Allison Walker also was somebody that you knew very close. So therefore, the funds was gonna come back to you, Don. Let's keep going. Watch this. They called the authority. The call to authorities was made by an individual named Keith Calvert, who claims to oversee the property at the storage company and believes the value of the stolen property runs into the millions of dollars. Right? Then it says Calvert estimates that anywhere from 300 to 500 master recordings were swiped by 2 roadies, with one of the culprits allegedly demanding $160,000 in exchange for a portion of the music. Wait a minute. Y'all remember when I told y'all that 500 master recordings ended up on a Apple computer back in 2019, but it ended up back in California. And I said allegedly, Julius was the one that found it, right? Okay. Last Friday, December the 9th, 2022. Excuse me. And I admitted mysteriously appeared on streaming services under R. Kelly's official artist pages, but was removed hours later. The Ignition singer claimed the album was fake and denied he had any involvement in its creation or release, which he believes was an attempt to sabotage his appeal relating to his sex abuse and child pornography convictions. Keep that in your mind. Which he believes was an attempt to sabotage his appeal relating to his sex abuse and child pornography convictions. Apparently, somebody done faked an album called I Admit It and put it out there as if it was me putting it out. He said in a prison recording, and I'm not putting out any albums. I haven't put out any albums. I'm not even interested in putting out any albums. But I want y'all to focus on this, which he believes was an attempt to sabotage his appeal relating to his sex abuse and child pornography convictions. Okay? So I'm going to ask you this question. Who will be bold enough to download an album? And it wasn't even my album. It was songs put together from 12 Play Fourth Quarter. I told y'all that. Go back and watch my videos. All of my channels is up now. And you'll see when I'm talking about it. So from 12 Play Fourth Quarter, you will see the songs put together as an album, but it wasn't never an album. Some of the songs wasn't even mastered and mixed down. But I'm going to give you a trivial. Just think about this. And y'all that know, put the answer in the chat. Who went on Bedbug channel and said, we have everything and it's coming out on a platform and we need full profit? Hold on. Oh, got to check on that one. All right. Yeah, but I had to check on that one. I had to make sure. Okay. I got it. Got to get back to the live. Hold on. Sorry about that, y'all. The car alarm was going on. But who said, we putting it out. We need full profit. And we know how much the lawyer's going to cost, right? Now, mind you, this is 2022. When he's saying, we know how much the lawyer's going to cost. But you heard him say he ain't mess with Rob after 2018, after the 8 months. From that point, you heard him say, and you heard this person say, and I want to quote him right, DanaJay stealing money. The dollar for the king wasn't good. That's not helping Rob. That's helping him. And as much as I fought against it, people came and said, oh, you stealing because they was following Don's narrative. The whole time. It was all about getting his lawyers lined up. So, with that being said, when I told y'all about the Roscoe chicken and waffles, I don't lie. I just might not never tell you the total truth. So, fundraising team. Don Russell, the organizer, raised $110 from 3 donations in Los Angeles, California. Allison Walker, the beneficiary. Lupe Panada, team member, raised $50 from 1 donation. Tabitha Roy, team member, raised $20 from 1 donation. Ariana Walker, team member, didn't raise anything. June Barrett, team member, Don's mother. So, with that being said, you see the organized crime and the RICO from a mother-son standpoint. You see the full RICO. Because they do everything together. So, what I did, I told Sharon Winbush, I said, go full force on Don. Watch he threaten you. Sharon said, Don ain't gonna threaten me. He ain't crazy. Sharon went out there and talked about everything that was going on. Talked about how Rob won his masters back and everything, right? Watch this. Right after that, this came out. Right after that, this came out. I don't know if people remember this. Hold on. don't know if y'all remember this, but Shern said R. Kelly and his lawyers are effing pissed. Give everything back, Don Russell, before this gets worse. Look at what he said. Why? So your commander-in-chief, Angelo Ass Clary, and his den of thieves can steal them. The same way he looted RSK's Trump apartment. Hell, to the no. Tell this inner circle that you are referring to file a complaint with CPD, which is Chicago Police Department, because this alleged theft did take place in Chicago. Stop. He said this alleged theft did take place in Chicago. Well, if it took place in Chicago, how can it be alleged? That part right there, Chris Terry, he deleted that comment. So if the theft was alleged, how did it take place in Chicago if it was alleged? It's either it happened or it didn't. We as bloggers throw alleged out there to keep us from lawsuits. You ain't a blogger. So why are you using alleged? Then you said, and because of the participants, wait a minute, but it never happened. But you said because of the participants, the report will surely make its way to a detective's desk. As a formality, the detective assigned to investigate the alleged theft you are referring to will definitely pay RSK, Robert Sylvester Kelly, a visit at the MCC to substantiate the allegation described above in your video. Now, from that point, you see the buildup. And everybody's saying, why now, Don? Why now? Well, I told y'all, Robert told him he won his masters back. From this paragraph, the second part is why we here now. And I told y'all that it was coming. And this was the reassurance that I needed to know it was coming. But everybody said, Dana don't know what he's talking about. Dana just hating on Don, this and this and this. This is what he said. He said, if he corroborate your defamation of my character, meaning if Rob corroborate and say that Don stole his stuff, then and only then will shit get real. How real can it get than it is now? So when Robert substantiated and took it from allegation to truth and fact, now you got Don that's sitting back saying, okay, y'all want me to help y'all? Now y'all got to help me. Let me get an extension on time to turn myself in. I'm going to put it all together for you. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but he said, if he corroborate your defamation of my character, then and only then will shit get real. On another note, I see whenever you low-life bums, the Clary Knights, want to get your YouTube numbers up, you create false narratives. And as long as you tie my name to it, you get the attention you desperately desire. Pathetic, shaking my effing head and laughing my A off. At the same damn time, keep it up. Keep it up. I'll cash in on it later. Hold on. You'll cash in on what later? I'll tell you what they're cashing on. He have the masters. He's going to find a way to liquidate them without Robert true signature and without anybody giving him power of attorney. But he have to go away for a minute. And when he come back from going away, then he'll cash in on it. All right? Until then, may your numbers continue to soar at the expense of others. Note, securing RSK's fans early on by posing as one of his supporters was a good move. And your effort to control the narrative, that's what he tried to do. But it was people like me, big dude, that didn't care about anything that he was saying that put it out there. But then he said, but it is not a checkmate. So if it's not a checkmate, then what is it? Because now you have sold yourself short. You have given yourself to the devil. So with that being said, technically, I told you what you're looking at is a movie. What you're looking at is a movie. So what I want you to do is sit back, relax, go get your popcorn. Because we're going to look at Tia and Early interview with Don Russell. And I'm going to break it down piece by piece by piece. So if we don't get through the whole thing today, then guess what? We're going to get through it. Also, don't forget, if you want to support this channel, you can hit the Cash App, which is $OfficialDanaJay, or you can hit the Super Chat, which is the box that got the $sign on it. Or you can just join this channel. Don't forget Dana J Patreon. But however, we're going to get there. It's Patreon.com/OfficialDanaJay. Please join. I got a $5 tier. And I got stuff in there that's loaded. So, without further ado, let's look at the interview from Tia and Early and Don Russell.
Obviously, you know about the king of R&B, R. Kelly, sitting behind bars for 30 years for sex trafficking, racketeering, and the list goes on.
And he would be in the bed with a Lier and a mother at the same fucking time. I mean, I don't really want to hear that shit, but that's the fucking truth.
So let's go back. We were talking about the studio, and had you ever seen what they claimed they saw in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary? They talked about, you know, girls being in all these rooms, mattresses being on the floor, a bucket being in the corner. You never saw any of that.
No. So like I said, that was not at the studio that we went to. You got to remember, when I came around, it was at the end of his career. Like I said, I always describe it as like the Titanic. The smokestacks was the only thing above water. So
he basically, for those 8 months, he was a saint.
Yeah, he had to be. I mean, it's like, look,
8 months, he just decided, I'm gonna clean it up.
Jesus is coming. act the part. You know what I mean? You know, so it's Judgment Day. So that's essentially what it was. I mean, but it started unraveling. I mean, it really did. But as I alluded to, it was the women in the documentary. I never met any of them. I mean, we're in court right now. None of them know me. Mm-hmm. They've never seen me before, never talked to me before, any of that. This happened way before I came on board. So everything that you guys are referencing in this documentary that was built was created on people who knew him throughout his career. I came at the very end.
So why are you being sued by one of them?
I'm being sued by 4 or 5 of them, and ain't just one of them.
Why?
We might trade.
Because they all.
It's a lot of stuff you can't say. Obviously,
well, no, I can say, honestly, at this particular point, a civil case is different from the criminal. My criminal cases are over with. The civil cases are still going on now. They're suing me because he's broke. He has no more money. And it's like they're going to get something from somewhere. That's essential.
But they've never met you, never saw you, don't know who you are.
Every last one of them.
Why come for you?
Every last one of them have said that in court. It's on transcripts. They don't know me, never seen me before, none of this stuff. But because of this December 4th event, that allegedly I'm the person that called in the threat, they all have now mysteriously got PTSD And of course, they were all diagnosed with PTSD from this lawyer who hired her, hired her expert friend as a psychologist to interview them for 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes in one interview over the phone, a video phone call, she determined they all have PTSD. So now, collectively, all of everything that had happened in their whole life, them having shell shock, they can't eat, they got picking disorders and all this shit, is my fault. They're not even suing R. Kelly. They're suing me. Now, the whole goddamn complaint is about R. Kelly. Everything in the complaint is about, this is the same thing that the prosecutor did in his case. They said Don Russell, for not even a sentence, and then they went into R. Kelly's life and talked about all this shit, and then segued into me again. So they wrote me into his career back to 2008, when I just came in 2018. You read the complaint, it reads as if I've been in this man's life since 2008 working with him, when I just came in 2018. So that's the bullshit that they did to make it seem or appear as if I've been working with him that long in order to push this damn civil lawsuit through for $50 million.
Could you pay that lawsuit? If the judgment was granted on the women's side, would you be able to afford that?
Hell no, no, fuck no. I couldn't pay nothing. First of all, they can grant whatever the fuck they want. They can't get nothing I don't have. That's first of all. They're not taking shit from me. I don't know them people. I have not cost them a fucking dime. The biggest victim in this motherfucker is me. They didn't lose nothing. They volunteered to be in a relationship with that man. After he pissed on them, shitted on them, and all the nasty, vile, degradable things that they did, they volunteered. They got on a plane. They flew across country to meet his ass. They over year relationships with every last one of them. So how is it that I caused that problem? Right. How you throwing that shit on me when you did that on your own accord, whether you was 15, 14, 25, 45.
Now, I can stop there. And I'm going to ask a question. He just corroborated everything that the feds were saying. Now y'all understand why Robert couldn't get a bond? Along with his enterprise people from YouTube? But let's finish. Let's finish.
You did that shit. You volunteered to be in that relationship with that man all those years. He put you through the worst shit. You did it because you thought you was going to win his heart over. And when he said bye, you felt fucked up. What the fuck does that got to do with me? It has nothing to do with me. I came way after all that shit. Don't know none of you. The only way I met you was through lawsuits that you filed. So to me, I'm a business owner. I've been sued by ex-employees before. So to me, this is nothing but somebody trying to get some money. That's literally what it was, because I met a true victim, and I'll tell you her response to what happened. And it wasn't nothing like these motherfuckers, but the fact of the matter is, they volunteered. It's like if you keep going to see a motherfucker and you getting the same result every time you go see him, that's on you. That ain't on him. One of them flies from Texas to New York, then came back and flew to another place to meet, came back, flew to another place, sending them pictures from phones in Texas of her new boobs that she got done and shit, that he paid for, obviously. From Texas, though. And then got on a plane and flew to go see his ass. You had the option to stay your ass in Texas. If he treated you shitty the first time you went to go see him and supposedly gave you herpes and shit, why the fuck did you go back and stay in a relationship with his ass a whole year? What's the point? Why did you keep doing that? And why the fuck am I responsible for somebody who didn't even know you, wasn't even fucking with him then, had my own life way the fuck over there, didn't know what the fuck he was doing, didn't care. You gonna sue me now because this one event has prompted you to lose your mind and got PTS fucking D because you went to a venue to talk about what he did to you, and now you got shell shocked because somebody called in a threat, which it was never announced. I sat in the trial. It was about me. They said it at the fucking venue. They didn't announce what happened because they didn't want to create a herd effect. Right. They didn't want people running out tearing their fucking building up. It was not on any of the fucking papers in New York that it was a fucking threat. You talking about New York. Twin Towers, all that shit. Bomb threat in New York gonna get all type of fucking coverage. It was Lifetime's fucking event. Why the fuck didn't they come after me? So, no, somebody said that shit, and it was an informant who did that shit, who they put inside to stir all this shit up. The same informant's cousin blew up one of them girls' fucking car. They tried to connect me with this motherfucker. I don't know him. There's no
Don. So now you trying to say Cash as an informant. Now I'm about to put some shit out there. You slept in the same hotel room on multiple nights with Cash and Michael Williams. So now you don't know him? You set the bush on fire in front of Cash grandmama house down in Valdosta. You tried to run Cash Jones off the road because she wouldn't be with you. But you don't know her cousin that's with her everywhere she go. You contacted her and her cousin, and when that happened, it just so happened that she spent you and you thought she was at Newhouse when she was in Miami. Let's finish.
History of me ever knowing this motherfucker. Michael Williams, he's doing time now, but he was connected to this fucking I can't say her name, but anyway, she was a publicist first for Lifetime, which is how we met her. She claimed she was involved with worked for Lifetime, and she was hearing all these stories from these girls and they was lying. She was sick of hearing it, so she wanted to send the information over to us to help our side out. She first met a guy named Julius, who Julius trying to hit on her.
Hold on. I thought Dana was lying. That's what they said. But now you see Don coming out and telling you how Cash got around within the camp. But when I came out and said she first met Julius and Don wanted her and Don tried to steal her from Julius, he came out and said that was a lie. But now, look what he's telling you.
So then she found out that some guy named Don was in charge, which is me. So she found me on Facebook. Don, I'm trying to get y'all information on this stuff for Lifetime, all these girls online. So she just started sending shit. So this is the girl who I would meet, and I told Rob stay away from her, because ain't no telling, she's too all over the place. And she seemed like she's the one to get next to you. She's the one that wrote the book Daddy's Little Girl, or whatever, Daddy's Little, whatever the shit it was called, which is all a fucking lie. This girl was starting fires every fucking place. She was recording, she'd went and fucked Tim Savage or Angelo Curry, one of the two of them, recorded all of their conversations, sending them to me, sending all of the shit that Lifetime was saying they knew that the girls was lying to me, and I'm letting Rob hear all of this shit. So I'm like, this shit is a hot mess. So her cousin, who was in New York with a fucking gun on him, because in the event Surviving R. Kelly in number 3, the mother of the Rogers chick, her mother is on there talking about how the guy with Cash had a gun on him. That was her cousin, the same one who set Azrael's car on fire. This is the same guy who called the venue the day of the fucking, just like, I'm on the phone on hold, he calls, we find this shit out in trial. I didn't know this before the trial. So why is it that somebody who spent $5,000 to get a fucking lawyer to draft a fucking cease and desist order, who would have preferred the event to go on because we would have checked the hell of a bag. Trademark, copyright infringement. We're calling a threat. And that's not anything that you resort to. But this motherfucker who's trying to set me up, who on multiple occasions tried to set me up, yeah, if it was a threat, that's the person who did the damn threat. Because this motherfucker been setting cars on fire and all this shit, trying to make it seem like R. Kelly and his camp are ordering this shit with him. And then the girl, the publicist, the same publicist chick, did an interview where she talked about how they use.
Hold the hell up. Now you saying Michael Williams did the threat? So if Michael Williams did the bomb threat, that means he was at your house. Because when the feds traced your phone number, at that time frame, you the one that pressed star 67. So either Michael Williams was at your house when that went on, or you did the shit. Which one is it? Let's finish.
To me. I've been working for the FBI this whole time. We used Don. Don was a pawn. So they did all this shit. They did all this shit because, one, you have to have an enterprise. Everybody in Rob's camp cooperated. I was the only one that told him, no, I'm not cooperating. Oh, you're not going to cooperate. So we're going to spank your ass. That's exactly what happened. It had nothing to do with me not cooperating. I don't know them heifers. I never met one of them a day in their fucking life. They have all said it in trial right now. We're in trial right now. I got to be back on the 17th. The last day they interviewed everybody. Have you met Mr. Russell? I'm representing myself. No. Have you ever seen him before? No. Have you ever came across him? No. So why the fuck you suing me for $50 million? Because of this fucking event? Well, if you were sitting in court, I won the case because the guy that talked to the Kresnicki who testified as the only person I talked to stated it wasn't him. He said it was a guy from New York, I can tell from the accent that he had in his voice, that called this threat in. We've got all of the 911 calls, everything that shows him calling. He called his father to find out what he should do before he called 911. How much of a threat could that have been? You call your father before you call 911, and then you go down and talk to security and all that shit, and you decide, okay, you know what? Let's go and let's go and let everybody out of here. But we're gonna do it peacefully because we don't want them to tear up our fucking place. So all of that's on record. What I agreed to saying is on record. Now, I did not agree on record, and I pled guilty to what I agreed to. What I agreed to that's on the fucking transcripts right now was when they asked me, Mr. Russell, on December 4th, did you purposely mean to intimidate Mrs. Rogers? I said, okay, my intimidator, what do you mean? What did I say? No, the first one was that you threatened her. I said, okay, by threatening her, can you repeat to me what I said? I want to agree to what I said. And I said, let's take it a little farther back. When she called me, because I didn't call her. I never had any contact information on them. Cash gave them my number. She called me. And that's on record. So they said, did you, when you spoke with her and you threatened that you would say this exactly right. You threatened her stating that you would file charges against her if she continued to reach out to you. I said, yes, that's what I said. That's what the threat was. I threatened her with filing charges against her. Then they read the next one. Mr. Russell, did you or did you not mean to intimidate Mrs. Rogers when you spoke with her on the phone? I said, okay, well, can we go over what was said that was so intimidating? I said, well, and let's go back. When she called me and cursed me out, first, I responded by saying, yes, you have a potty mouth to be the first lady of a church, and you really need to be careful who you calling with this shit. And I hung up on her ass. I own my own shit. I don't desire, nor did I invite that call. She called me, so she deserved to get a response for what she called me on. The last one, did you purposely mean to embarrass the other Rogers girl when you sent nude pictures of her to Lifetime? I said, okay, let's see these pictures, because I need to see exactly what it is that I sent to Lifetime. I don't have any nude pictures of her. Where would I get nude pictures of this girl from, right? So they brought the first picture. I said, no, I never had that picture. That was a trick. I said it was a PowerPoint presentation that was sent to Lifetime. Can I see that? They brought it down. I said, okay, yes, this was drafted in my office, but I didn't put it together, honestly. My mother actually put it together. And it was her and Robert. Rob gave her the conversation between him and her, talking about she wanted to end the lawsuit. She didn't want to go any further. And she just wanted him to fly her to see her. He didn't answer the phone because I guess he was busy, and she went nuts. So that's when the shit hit the fan. So other things were pictures that were cropped that she had sent Robert, personal shit, stuff to women, and they boo, whatever. Everything was cropped. There was nothing showing any fucking nudity.
Hold up, dude. Your mother put her neck on the line for your ass, and you just threw your mama under 6 Greyhound buses. Dude. You threw her head first under 6 Greyhound buses. Boy, with a son like you, she don't need no enemies. God damn. Now you saying that her and Rob put it together? Boy. You brutal.
Facebook is not going to allow it. YouTube is not going to allow it. The same video that they're speaking of is still up on YouTube today. If it was nude pictures, they would have took the shit down, period. And all the video said was, the bank is closed. The dude ain't got no fucking money. Stop suing him. So we sent that to Lifetime. We sent that to her attorney that was suing, and we sent that to the court. So that was as much as it went. And it wasn't me. It was done from my office. So what I said to them was, because it was done from my office, I will take full responsibility for it. But no, it was not intended to embarrass her. My office was simply negotiating with Lifetime an alternative called Surviving Lies to expose who the women, now that they knew who the women were. And I said, but if it did embarrass her, my apologies. And that was it. That's what I pled guilty to. Those are the charges that I pled guilty to. So if you read the transcripts, that's exactly what's in there.
So you didn't create the Surviving the Lies Facebook page that showed nude pictures of girls?
There was never any nude pictures ever being shown. We never had any.
Got it.
Surviving the Lies was Cash. Cash Jones did that. I did Surviving Lies, but she did Surviving the Lies. She was taking forever to come out with. I said, Cash, you got all this stuff that you done, you know, in these pictures that you, whatever you done got from these people. What's taking you so long to put it out? So I sent her $500, which is noted to put the, because she's like, nah, my money's low. I got to pay for this, which was a fucking lie. She didn't need it. I got to pay for the hosting and all this stuff. I said, okay, fine. I'll send you the money. I sent it to her via Cash App or something like that. And she never put it out. So what I did was open up a Facebook page called Surviving Lies, and we put out the same PowerPoint presentation that we sent over to Lifetime. There was no nude pictures ever on there.
So now this is the...
So Don, so you didn't go on Texas Black Diamond and showing Faith nude pictures? Is that what you're saying? That somebody I'm not cool with took and sent to Doug Anton?
Part in
and you can
Surviving R. Kelly where she said that someone asked to meet with her. It was the mom and the dad.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the part we're
And
talking
they went into
about,
a
right?
restaurant.
And they went into a
The guy had the
restaurant.
gun, right.
And
Don Russell, you playing with a firestorm. You know Cash gonna burn your tail up. Man. Ah! I see this gonna be a part 2.
And so now are you the person that had the gun?
No, that's Cash and her uncle, a cousin, the same guy who set the cars on fire.
So you're not the person that
I
had the gun?
wasn't even in New York. I was in Chicago.
Okay.
I never went to New York. I've never been to New
Well,
York.
I mean, I'm just clearing it up because, you know, there were rumors that was you.
No, hell no. That was her and her cousin.
So I want to go back to something you said, because when you talked about the Lier portion and Early asked you the question, did you know he had a problem with girls? You said there were 2 instances. You said the Aaliyah situation. What was the other situation?
So it was a girl that I met in, excuse me. I met in Chicago. We were,
It's a girl you met in Chicago. This is the stuff I hate. What's the girl name?
God, the universe. I'm headed home one day from the office, and I'm driving and I light a cigar, and this girl next to me is laughing, and we both in traffic, headed west, and I peeked over at her, and I rolled over like, what's funny? I thought she was laughing at me lighting a cigar, because it's a big cigar, it's a gorilla finger. I'm like, what's funny? And she was like, no, I'm on my Bluetooth. She was talking to somebody, and she was like, I said, oh, my bad, I'm all up in your business, whatever. So I ended up, shooting my shot at her or whatever be the case, and we exchanged numbers. She was like, I'm in real estate. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, let's talk. I just got a building, and that goes back to how I benefited from Rob. My investor that, not to get off the subject, when our lease was ending in the office, he was losing the studio. My investor gave me a 57,000 square. He didn't give it to me. He gifted my nonprofit with a 57,000 square foot building on the west side of Chicago. He owned it. It was in demo, and it took a few dollars to get it back off demo. But that's why I say no, because that building is what we're building this new whole oasis off of today. So indirectly I benefited, but not directly from him. So getting back to Nicole. She
Oh shit! Getting back to Nicole. Getting back to Nicole. If y'all missed that, let me spin that for you real quick. Let me take it back. Right there.
square foot building on the west side of Chicago. He owned it. It was in demo, and it took a few dollars to get it back off demo. But that's why I say no, because that building is what we're building this new whole Oasis off of today. So indirectly I benefited, but not directly from him. So getting back to Nicole, we exchanged numbers, and then we talked later on. We went out a couple of times. She was in real estate, and she actually was one of the person that was helping me find financing for the building. Nothing ever came through because of COVID. But one day we were at the Polsky Center, which is a place I had this temporary office space before we moved into a new one, and she was we were talking about it. Me and my mom was in the car. She was in the back. This is after I had told her that I was working with him. And
so when you tell a lie, your lie gotta make sense. First, you was lighting up a gorilla finger, the cigar, and she was on her Bluetooth. It jumped from there to you asking her, or you being in her business and she saying she on the phone, to now she in the back seat of your car and your mama in the car and you in the car. Woo!
She was like, we were saying, no, we got to get this done. We got to send this off. You know, we were going over our game plan. And my mom got out the car to go into Whole Foods, and she was like, Don, he is guilty as fuck. And the conviction in her voice, I was like, what do you mean by that? So talk to me. What's going on? And that's when she broke everything down to me. And it was up until then, I had no fucking clue about anything. She was like, Don, listen. Homeland Security contacted me because, and I didn't participate, I didn't cooperate with them because, one, I went after him. She was like, I was dating 25, 30-year-old dudes when I was young. My father shot this dude climbing out my window. So I remember going to the school and Miss McLean and telling her, you know, I want to hook up with dude because Miss McLean knew I was a singer and she was in music. So anyway, she hooked up with Rob. She was 14. She started going to the studio. Shortly after that, they started messing around. She wrote a lot of some of his music.
At 14?
At 14. She was there all the time.
This how you know a nigga lying. So let's break this down. Let's center this. I'll be right there. So this is how you know a nigga lying. First of all, a 14-year-old writing a lot of his music. So you mean to tell me that a 14-year-old wrote Sex Me, wrote the 12 Play album, wrote the Ignition album? Mind you, you just got finished saying that he's hypersexual. You just got finished saying that Sony enabled him. You just got finished saying that this lady is a real estate agent, but she writing hits like that. Somebody lying. Ain't no 14-year-old write no hits like that and then become a real estate agent and not get paid for her writing. I'm just saying. But I'm going to let you continue to talk.
She's the one that explained to me that Battery Studio, he had rooms and he had his Fab Five, like the basketball Fab Five, Michigan. So he had his Fab Five and every one of them was underage. And he was like, I was like, okay. And she was like, and he would leave us and we would all stay voluntarily. You know, she said most girls were scared to leave because they knew they would get replaced. So they didn't want to leave and, you know, somebody else took their spot. And she said then outside of the rooms were other girls hanging out that they weren't the top of the line girls, but they was just girls he had fun with. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, when he would come back, we would play games like musical chairs. And musical chairs was everybody walk around a chair, and the last girl without a chair would have to go in the room with all the rest of the girls, engage in, activity with him. So I'm like, okay. I'm still listening to it like, okay, this is all horrible shit. So anyway, she's like, so I did that for him for years, like the little games like that, and she's like, and when I got a little older, she was like, I had to stop because I was too old for him. And she had a daughter, and she had started moving forward with her career in real estate, and she realized she wasn't going to benefit from being around him. And she said, she found a nice husband. She got married, had a daughter. Career was jamming in real estate. And she said, but this is when I realized what R. Kelly did to me after I got married. I was like, what? She was like, well, I go out at night. I got the perfect husband now, beautiful daughter, and I go find multiple people to fuck and sleep with because my sex drive is so high because of what he did to me as a 14-year-old that having one person, a sexual experience, ain't enough for me. I got to have multiple people. So when I heard that, I broke out like, that is the problem right there. And I don't hear any of these motherfuckers talking about that. The effect of how they are now as a result, that's PTSD if you ask me. He did something that traumatized the shit out of him, and now she's got to sneak out on her husband looking for 4 or 5 women to fuck on because her husband ain't enough. So now she's married to a man and a woman because they can't satisfy her sexually because of what R. Kelly did to her. Problem.
Do you feel bad for any of the victims?
Fuck yeah. Somebody that's going through that, hell yeah. That's disgusting. I stopped working for him right after that. Not for him, with him. I was done. I'm like, wow. After hearing that, the shit with Aaliyah was supposed to be 12 when they first started fucking. I was done after that. I'm like, you know what? This shit here is some sick shit. I went to California, and some people know that shit. I was done, and I had a lot of his shit. So, like, I would fly back to make sure stuff was getting transitioned back to him, but I was done working with him after that.
You didn't have the tapes, did you?
What tapes?
Had you ever seen the tapes, these sex tapes that he supposedly recorded?
He's had a catalog of sex tapes that he watched.
I have his catalog of music. I had it up until Sony just confiscated it. I had all of his masters. And I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I didn't have them. I know who had them because we negotiated. It was a company who was supposed to be shooting a documentary that was supposed to come out before Lifetimes. And I negotiated that deal. And when I found out what happened, I went back and canceled the shit, and that was it. And they because they put money up, those masters stayed in their care until they got paid back, which they never got paid back. So they lost about $1 million that they invested too.
So let's fast forward to today. So of course we know,
and we're talking about masters of music,
right?
Not none of those other shit.
Yeah. Right. So let's fast forward to today. We know this is your wife. Alicia, she reached out to me via social media and said, hey.
Hold on. Now Don said he don't have the masters. He know who had them, right? Just hold on. Just hold on. And we're going to break this down tonight. Hold on.
Hey, I'd like for you to interview my husband. He wants to clear his name. Earlier today, you said something. You said, and we know, we spoke about this earlier. You did the interview with Tasha K. And I guess it sounds like you were. I saw the interview. I watched the interview because I wanted to prepare for this interview. And to me, it looked like you were holding back in that interview. A lot of people, even in the comments, were like, well,
"That part, neither."
Really not saying anything. You know what I mean? It was almost like, "What's the point of this interview?" And you said earlier that you were in trial, and the case was pending. And then today you said, "Fuck it, I don't give a fuck no more."
Well,
so my question is, why are we here today? What you want to clear your name? What is it that you want to say
that clears your name?
That clears your name.
Well, one, first, I've never been his manager. Now, I did things that managers would do because there was nobody else to get it done. And I thought it would help as far as the investment. I'm not one of those guys that, my work ethic is second to none. When I get on something, I don't know how to come up off of it until it's done. So the plan was to get the music out on the platform. Never happened. I mean, I still got the records now. I could put them out if I wanted to. But the fact of the matter is, I was never his manager. I own my own business. I've always owned it. I was only in his immediate circle for, and I'm not gonna say circle, his presence for 8 months. You know, everybody's writing me in all the way back, and the way
that part, Prima, you caught it. Hold on.
Which started at the prosecutor's office. And it started with that goddamn complaint that they wrote that wrote me into this man's career all the way back to 2008 when I was not in his shit at all. I was nowhere close to him. I don't know any of them damn survivors, the victims, whatever you want to call them. I don't know any of them. I mean, so I want to clear that up. I didn't threaten anybody. I was literally going about protecting my investment. I didn't cooperate with the authorities because I'm in Chicago. And at that time, it was at the height of stuff. I don't want to be involved in that shit. I got brands to protect, family to protect, kids to protect. I didn't want them in that shit. That's why I used the name Colin Dunn, an alias name, to keep myself out of the shit. So that's, you know, that's the, and you look at anybody who gets into some shit, it's like me and you friends, right? And I've been knowing you 20, 30 plus years. We met, you know, we got this badge and we was in Boy Scouts together, right? And you got out of Boy Scouts, I did with the Silver Stars. I don't know if that exists or not. I'm just making this shit up, right? But we both got out of it with that, right? So we vowed we're going to be boys, whatever we go off and do. And 20 years later, I see you out on your yacht is going down in the middle of the ocean, and you out there peddling water and shit, trying to stay afloat, and hollering and shouting. And ain't nobody else around you, but I happen to just catch a glance at you. I dive in the water, and I swim my ass, and you see me. I'm hollering back and forth, and you still saying, yeah, come help. Swim out there, and I come get to you and shit. And when you get to you, you say, man, I'm cut and I'm bleeding out. I'm like, oh shit. And then I look underwater, and it's fucking Moby Dick, Jaws, piranhas, all these horrible motherfuckers finna tear your ass apart. And then you say, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about that shit too. That's fucked up of you. You should have said, nigga, stay your ass ashore. It's looking real bad out here for me, right? That's what he did. I got my ass out there in the shit. And he didn't even tell me. I had to go searching through shit, finding shit, and then bringing it to him like, bro, is this for real?
So is this why you called him a manipulator?
Yeah.
Because earlier
you talked about the
said
signature.
He was a manipulator. You talked about the signature. What's the significance of all of that?
Well, I mean, it's a whole bunch of that. I mean, obviously, this whole thing is about women he manipulated, obviously. I mean, and that's the whole duration of it. He's not just a singer. He's a fucking actor. He can get on stage. He has a hell of a performance. That's not just one-sided. He's not just selling albums. He's selling.
Wait a minute. First you say I'm the actor. Now Rob the actor?
Our shows too. I mean, so when you take all that and you bundle it up, this is a guy who has a gift of getting what he wants from people. You know, and at that particular time, he didn't have anybody. And I was the closest and smartest thing to him that he trusted. So, yeah, he opened the door, which he should have said, Don, listen, I'm about to be charged with fucking on 14-year-olds. And I actually do have a problem with myself because as a kid, I was fucked on at 7. My sister, my father, my grandfather is my father. All these things he should have told me and gave me full disclosure before I made the decision to go forward. You don't let me get out here, we didn't started this relationship and shit, and then find out you've been molested at 7, and that's what's creating this hypersexual motherfucker that's fucking on everybody else at 7, 14 or whatever. No, it's not right, bro. I mean, literally, all these things that you find out on the fly, that shit's not cool. Give a motherfucker, let him know what he getting himself into in the beginning, and that's the part about it that I could not say throughout my and his trial. I was never told any of that shit by him. I mean, and I kept that shit to myself because, one, he is on trial. I've already been told if I say anything about the fucking trial, they pulling both my bonds and taking my ass to jail. I couldn't reach his lawyers, nobody, and tell nobody shit. So it's like, I'm in this position right now, I really got to be careful. And because I didn't cooperate, you know what, let's spank this motherfucker and let this RICO thing be him and Robert. So now I'm the enterprise, so you have to write a complaint writing me into his career all the way back so you can prove that he's part of this enterprise? Where's all the motherfuckers that was in videos that got 20% of them fucking checks from management and all that shit? The ones who walked them bitches in. The one who did all that shit that you did. Every one of them heifers can point out anybody. They can't point out me. Where's any of them motherfuckers? Where they at? Why are none of them motherfuckers locked up with his ass? Huh? They cooperated. They told the fucking FBI what they needed to fucking hear. They got it out of him, and that's what they helped them build that fucking case against his ass. So here, me, not knowing any of that shit existed, comes in thinking I'm finna get some music, put it on the platform, make $16 million fucking dollars. We're gonna vast off into the sunshine. I can clean this shit up, and we good. Because I didn't know none of that shit existed. It's like, whoa. Well, then I just get hit over the fucking head. So I mean, that's the whole thing about it that people don't know. I didn't get into this shit knowing any of that existed. And I'd had them, that'd be different. They cannot prove by any fucking means that I had any contact with that dude before 2018 and after 2019 June. Period. I was in California, on with my life. I did an interview outside of Biggs, and this was at the beginning of when him started to part ways. I said he deserves to be. It was when they did the. So here, me not knowing any of that shit existed, comes in thinking I'm finna get some music, put it on the platform, make $16 million fucking dollars. We're gonna vast off into the sunshine. I can clean this shit up, and we good. Because I didn't know none of that shit existed. It's like, whoa. Well, then I just get hit over the fucking head. So I mean, that's the whole thing about it that people don't know. I didn't get into this shit knowing any of that existed. And I'd had them, that'd be different. They cannot prove by any fucking means that I had any contact with that dude before 2018 and after 2019 June. Period. I was in California, on with my life.
Stop. So,
Don't follow those cats.
All that money shit.
when did you do this video, Don? This video was February the 21st. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't February 21st. This video was actually in 2022. This was, to be exact, if I'm not mistaken, November the 16th, 2022. But hold on.
That's all I was saying to that man on that phone. Like, chill the fuck out. You come there trying to get albums and all this shit out the deal, or bullying the dude for money. Just thing got kicked off. He was at the studio. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I just saw him. It was some guy sitting behind Rob's car at a full Explorer with Pennsylvania license plates on it. And it was two white boys. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? I mean, we was headed over to the studio that night. I don't remember what was happening, but we was headed there. And then there was a dude circling the car, and it was a black. I looked at him, I'm like, that motherfucker looked familiar. Now, I knew him from some pictures and shit, but I didn't know who he was. So that's how we got introduced. When somebody got up in the studio that night, because Rob was doing a little event on there, sold all of the keys to his trucks. And it was happened to be Angelo Clary and them that orchestrated that shit. So that's how we got initially into talking to each other. It wasn't that, I actually talked to them. It was like, okay, Rob, this dude was just outside, and I think it was Azriel's father, and then some motherfuckers out there in a white truck. And Rob had a Jeep that had the, you could peel it off, the top off of it. So we was like, pull that motherfucker up, put it in front of the camera just in case.
You need to get in touch with us. Yo, I guess all they're going to talk about is him being convicted. And
Rob out, but he wanted $100,000 cash. And I was like, nah, I'm going to give you the surety bond, and you're going to get him out with the surety bond. He's like, well, I can't use that. So I took him and sent them a snip from the Cook County showing that he could be bonded. I was surety bond. But the fact, I think he may have talked to Andrew once more and Mike Friedman from Friedman and Associates or Friedman Partners, whatever. He had represented Kevin Spacey, and he had represented the Archdiocese, and he had represented Snoop Dogg. So when they had issues, and he wasn't the type of lawyer that would take it to trial because he used to be a federal prosecutor. He said, you're basically paying me to end the case. If I get it, I'm going to go in there and do a mediation or arbitration, whatever the hell he was saying, and end the shit. It's not going to ever make it to trial. I don't take cases to trial. So his price tag was $3 million, but then he said it may take another $2 million in investigative stuff. So be ready to spend $5 million. So that's when we knew that rock hard finite number that we had to secure was $5 million. That was it. We had to secure $5 at minimum. I don't give a fuck. Nothing else get covered. $5 million had to get covered. So we had Mike Friedman. He started communicating with Rob. He sent his retainer agreement in. Rob signed the retainer agreement. You know what I'm saying? It was simple as that. We all met out in LA, me, Keith, my uncle who owns Roscoe's. It was a network guy there. And Mike Friedman. We sat down, we came up with a game plan, and that was as simple as it should have been. We should have worked that game plan, and we probably would have a different fucking result. So we got Mike Friedman in, Rob signs it. Him and Greenberg are cool because they're good old boys. So Greenberg talking to Mike every day, and he talking to Nicole, and Mike is they all leaning on Mike, and he's kind of designing everything. But then the money never came up. So we got Mike in there who stayed.
I thought you was done after 8 months. This is 2020 now. Let's finish.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, is Greenberg partners with Jennifer Manji?
Case you're alone in fucking New York, and you from Detroit. I mean, so she was out of her league, and she was the only one that lasted. Remember, she tried to get out of the case too right before it started, which would have left Rob with nothing. Kanek was only involved because of his license. They needed somebody with a license to practice in New York, so they used Kanek. He was not supposed to argue the case. So without him having any other lawyers, then you have Raid.
Wait a minute. Kanek is 2021. When I told y'all that him and Trent was partners, and it was more than just that $1 million initiative, he's telling it all. But then you get mad when I put the pieces of the puzzle together for you. I just don't get it. But let's let him finish talking.
Shalaby, that's the one who came in the meantime, trying to convince Rob to take the case. It was a local guy that one of Rob's associates put Rob in contact with. They didn't know shit. And they were just stirring shit up. They was, I don't remember what, Persians or something. They just had this fucked up. They was just all over the fucking place, trying to throw concerts and all this shit. These are lawyers. So then the same associate brought in Doug and Nicole. Now, when I'm not saying that my job is to look into any fucking attorneys, but I did start peeking in on these guys and seeing what their background was and shit. Because at this point, I didn't have as much information that I ended up with. So my thought was they're going to need this intel. I gave it to Ray Shalaby. He started using it like it was shit that he was coming up with. I didn't give a fuck. Long as it got used in the case, I didn't care who came up with the shit. I mean, and at that time, it was just the Chicago thing, the local Chicago case that he was dealing with. So my analysis or my comparison to that would have been, when this thing escalated to a federal case, it's like you hire a lawyer for a traffic ticket. And then you get in front of the judge and the motherfucker say, well, wait a minute, he left the scene of a crime, he ran over 3 motherfuckers or whatever. This lawyer that I had hired to handle the traffic case shouldn't have been fucking with them other, because now this thing escalated to some real serious shit. Greenberg should have stepped out at that point and said, Rob, I can't fuck with this. I'll help you on the state level, the local case, but all that big shit, I ain't equipped for that. But because he wanted popularity and all that shit, he stayed on. And then he started working with Nicole and Doug, knowing that none of their asses got along. And we can tell that. I hate to say I told you so, but look at how it ended. They all imploded. Doug's stealing fucking money. Nicole is fucking running around and ain't got a fucking clue, leaking information. You know, she's way ahead. You know, she's like elementary, and now you're up in the Ivy League college. You shouldn't even be trying a case. You're alone in fucking New York, and you from Detroit. I mean, so she was out of her league, and she was the only one that lasted. Remember, she tried to get out of the case too right before it started, which would have left Rob with nothing. Kanek was only involved because of his license. They needed somebody with a license to practice in New York, so they used Kanek. He was not supposed to argue the case. So without him having any proper planning, he did a fucking good job, because he called all them heifers and lies. But he got the case a month before it started, had no time to prepare, and actually he didn't even start arguing the case. Nicole did. And because she got on the stand and started fucking up, Rob said, sit your ass down and let Buddy handle it from here. That's exactly what happened. We saw that happen because she didn't argue no more after that first day. Kanek took the stand from that point on and argued. The first day they walked out of there together, the rest of them days, Canic left with his guys, and Nicole and them left with her boys. So we started the separation in the division, but that's the whole legal thing. You know what I mean? Jean coming in, I think is great. She's experienced in the courtroom. She's exactly the kind of lawyer he should have had in the very fucking beginning. Real simple. So the job that we took on, that we weren't tasked with, which was me, Keith, Santee, and a few people that we brought in, lawyers, was to free up Rob's intellectual property. Free up now we're getting down the road. We're trying to negotiate for the fucking music and the masters, and we finding out shit he don't own none. We really don't own none of his writer share, which is all we thought he had. We knew the publishing and all the other shit was gone. We thought at least he had enough writer share. So we finding out now he owns 7% of that shit, and that shit got liens on it. Right out of the 50%, and that's when we started going through the portals and shit. Instead, I'm going through all the portals and I'm seeing it's 90-something contracts, and which is an extreme amount of fucking contracts for one artist. But a lot of them was in the folder of promissory notes. And I'm going in this promissory note folder looking at 7 million, 4 million, 8 million, 2 million. I'm like, what the fuck is this about?
See, Don, when you like me, you got digital footprints everywhere you go. So hold on, check this out.
I'm like, he doesn't do any of that for Rob. I know who handles Rob's business. Matter of fact, it was me that was handling a majority of Rob's business at the time. Because Rob's business had intertwined into my business. So, but fast forward to answer the question, listen, there's a lot of folks in Rob's camp that has snaked him over down to something he would never believe. And unraveling the truths and asking Rob questions about people who stole from him and things of that nature and crew members that stole, nobody's even looking at. I mean, these girls are all smoke and mirrors. The Honda Pages, the Santi McGee, the Phase Rod, that's smoke and mirrors. That's what they want us focused on. The real intruders, the people who really did wrong by this man, in his own camp. Because even with all of them coming forth in accusation, everything that they're charging him for now is not based on him having sex with any of these girls. It's racketeering. It's trafficking. It's things that they're bending law to fit to have someone that he does have his day in court. Nobody's prepared for that. And the only way they arrived at that conclusion is because of the people that's right around Rob. The managers that were stealing, the accountants that were stealing, the lawyers that were stealing, the ecosystem that they designed to steal all this money from him. And the moment he started investigating they stealing, they planted landmines. So when he stepped out, boom, they go off into space. And that's not just talking about 5 or 6 people. I'm talking about every goddamn body. He was $900 million in the hole that should have been in his pocket where everybody stole from him. They gave him a weekly allowance, and that's what I investigated. So of course I'm gonna have enemies because these motherfuckers know I know shit about their dirt, and we're preparing for that when we get to court. Everybody's thinking we should be prepared for Johanna face. Fuck Johanna. She done done so much dirt in her years. Listen, I can oppose her in 10 seconds, and this shit would be over with. There's some motherfuckers like Cheryl Mack and a whole bunch of other names that don't nobody know exist in his life, and Barry Hankerson and goddamn Linda and goddamn Joan and Diane and Cash. Don't know everybody looking at them folks. Those are the ones that need to be under scrutiny and investigation right now. Fuck a Dana J, fuck a Johanna Pace. They ain't done nothing. We can get them out the way real easy. What about the ones who stole? Man, it seemed as if he was doing all this crooked shit, and just to throw him under the bus so he couldn't come after them. That's what we're dealing with right now. So Dana don't know shit about none of that shit, so he needs to stop. He can tell us about these hoes all day long. All he's doing is distracting people from the real folks that have wronged this man and put him in that situation. And I wasn't one of them. I just came around the man a year and a half ago. The dirt had been done already. I mean, stop with that shit. Like, I came to help this guy. I've known him since our childhood years. See off this man today. I spent over $100 grand that I definitely can show. And if you Google my ass, you can see that I've got a background where it's possible. I've done good things in Hollywood. My family owns a chain of restaurants. I own a tech company, president and CEO. We fixed $3 million a couple of years ago for that tech company. So what am I doing but bringing my resources to the table to help this man? And people like Dana that's throwing shade on that, they're not helping him. They're not helping that man by doing that shit. What I told Green, I'm going to twist to Greenberg real quick. What I told Greenberg, and I'll tell you this, the interview was after his fucking phone, and it's funny, he after his phone, but Dana, but not me. He took us in the studio in the back booth, me and you, Greenberg, and said, Greenberg, work with Don. He's got the shit that you need to free. He's got the shit that you need on that. They're not helping him. They're not helping that man by doing that shit. Rob told Green, I'm going to twist to Greenberg real quick. Rob told Greenberg, and I'll tell you the interview was after his fucking phone, and it's funny, he after his phone, but Dana, but not me. He took us in the studio, in the back booth, me and you, I'm going to twist to Greenberg real quick. Rob told Greenberg, and I'll tell you the interview was after his fucking phone, and it's funny, he after his phone, but Dana, but not me. He took us in the studio, in the back booth, me and you, Greenberg, and said, Greenberg worked with Don, he's got the shit that you need to free me in this case. But this was when the case was a lot lesser. This one, there was lesser charges. This other shit that became federally and all that. Rob let down Greenberg for that shit. Matter of fact, Greenberg was brought to Rob out in the cold, who handled the Bill Cosby case. She couldn't do it, so he stepped his ass in when it was lesser charges. He's not equipped to handle these motherfucking charges that I just Rob, which is why I brought in Melvin off of that shit. And nobody else did. I flew out to California, met the man, brought him here twice, met him here, never said anything about the shit because Rob needs that level of attorney to put a blanket on this shit. He needs Andrew Wyatt, that level of a PR specialist to come in and blanket and control the fucking press. That's what he needs. Not these low-level motherfuckers who ain't never had a dog fight at the top of the mountain. They can't even breathe with this shit. So for them to keep going out here and first of all, none of these motherfuckers get along. They don't communicate. Doug doesn't communicate with fucking Greenberg. Greenberg don't communicate with Ray. Ray don't communicate with nobody. Nicole, all them motherfuckers are long rangers trying to sling bullets and get pressed and shit for their own good. They're not helping that man. And if this will cause them to do it, then guess what? Bring y'all ass together, have some strategy sessions. Hey, listen, if I had some fucking information that was valuable to winning the case, I would hear him out. But Rob told that motherfucker to talk to me, and he won't do it. Why? Why is it that he won't sit down and get the information that I have that nobody's focused in on? We don't want the world to know. I just want them to know. We're not trying to let the other side know about what we've come up with that will help defend this man. I want him to have it so he can use it to defend this man. And if he decides it's no good, it's fine too. But Rob asked that motherfucker to do that shit. And he still to this day will not fucking come out here and throw shots in the dark and shit that we did. If you want to know who ended Rob's motherfucking tax problem, my mother did that shit. We eliminated those tax problems from him. He's not going to have no issues with the IRS now. Can't nobody else come up and tell you the process that we took him to eliminate them fucking problems. I guarantee you they can't. They can't show you the signature, the passports, the driver's license, all that shit that I have in my possession. It's phony portal. It's phony contract. I have all of that shit. And I'm not leaked any of it because you know what? I want it to go into the hands of the right. Can't nobody else come up and tell you the process that we took him to eliminate them fucking problems. I guarantee you they can't. They can't show you the signature, the passports, the driver's license, all that shit that I have in my possession. It's phony portal. It's phony contract. I have all of that shit. And I'm not leaked any of it because you know we eliminated those tax problems from him. He's not going to have no issues with the IRS now. Can't nobody else come up and tell you the process that we took him to eliminate them fucking problems. I guarantee you they can't. They can't show you the signature, the passports, the driver's license, all that shit that I have in my possession. It's phony portal. It's phony contract. I have all of that shit. And I'm not leaked any of it because you know what? I want it to go into the hands of the right person. Not these low-life motherfuckers who are trying to touch, do books, stay in front of a fucking camera or microphone at his expense. He wouldn't have that shit if he was out. You know damn well if Rob was on the streets, he would not have your ass speaking his honor or raising money in his honor. That's bullshit. So cut it out.
So it sounds like, I hear the passion in your voice. And it obviously is weighing heavy on your heart. And I'm glad that you're actually out here being man enough to, approach these platforms and speak your mind. I guess the question I have...
I don't have to call any of this shit. I got Rolling Stones, CBS, NBC, all normally put me in front of a camera. But the moment I get in front of that camera, I'm a target now. I can't move around and do what the fuck I'm doing. I got people sending death threats because of the dumb shit that Dana and the idiots are fucking spewing out here. Cut it the fuck out. You're not helping this man. You can go online and see it. He has me listed as his fucking manager. I didn't do that shit. I did articles here for months ago for him because he asked me to. So when all the other managers stole from him, I said, listen, Rob, you don't need another manager. I'll be your consultant and your fucking advisor. When I went and spoke, the papers made me his fucking manager because I spoke so eloquently and I had so much background that they researched.
So you're saying...
Listen, I didn't do that shit. I did articles here for months ago for him because he asked me to. So when all the other managers stole from him, I said, listen, Rob, you don't need another manager. I'll be your consultant and your fucking advisor. When I went and spoke, the papers made me his fucking manager because I spoke so eloquently and I had so much background that they researched.
You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't need another manager. I'll be your consultant and your fucking advisor. When I went and spoke, the papers made me his fucking manager because I spoke so eloquently and I had so much background that they researched.
You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're saying that Dana's responsible for possibly putting a hit on you. Is that what you're saying?
First of all, I'm not worried about it. I'm connected to different sources that ever worry about some shit like that.
No, I'm not saying you're worried. I'm not saying you're worried.
I spoke so eloquently and I had so much background that they researched.
You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you're saying that Dana's responsible for possibly putting a hit on you. Is that what you're saying?
First of all, I'm not worried about it. I'm connected to different sources that ever worry about some shit like that.
No, I'm not saying you're worried. I'm not saying you're worried. I'm just speaking of the accusation. Now, you ain't supposed to be worried about it, not as a man, but I'm just saying because all of this is heavy and it's dark. You know what I'm saying? These streets right now is dark. So what I'm saying is that are you saying that Dana is responsible for putting a hit on you? Do you think that Dana has that?
Not just Dana. Okay. It's not just Dana. Dana's working with Will Levy and a few other folks too.
So they're putting a hit on you. You think that they're all in on
a hit on me because they know what I know about them. See, I could easily put this shit out right now, but it's not going to help in this case. I'm putting it in the hands of the right attorney. We had a couple attorneys that came in and interviewed with Rob. Mezzanoff is sitting back and waiting. He wants money. We got ways to raise the money, but they won't give it as long as fucking Steve Greenberg is in the position because he's a fucking idiot. Look at the fucking motion he filed. They gonna say his client wanted him to do. I don't give a fuck. If my client did want me to do that, I wouldn't have filed no motion saying he needs to see his two girlfriends. He got a right hand problem and a fucking hernia. That's the dumbest shit in the world you could put in a motion. And then laughing at Rob and his ass all over every day because of dumb shit like moves like that they keep making.
Let me ask you.
Shut the fuck up. And then the judge said, tell the ass to shut the fuck up. He did.
So let me ask you.
And then you had a federal attorney come in town and tell you, don't file that fucking motion because it's not going to help. I'm preparing one that will get him. I'm not going to say what the solution is that they wanted to do with it, but if there was a solution presented, Greenberg goes ahead and does the shit anyway. He's not even a fucking federal attorney. He's fucking a state guy. He's horrible at that. He got fired for Patterson, Drew Patterson, who killed the police officer, killed his wife, for fucking being incompetent. The fucking knucklehead.
You see something? Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you? I see what I'm saying. I thought... No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you?
Yeah,
No, you done fucked up, don't you? No, don't you? No, you done fucked up.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, my other phone, I don't know why, but my reception is terrible up here.
Saying that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But, no, I just found it weird because I was like, wait a minute, what did you just say? I'm like, why would you be seeing Joy? And he was like, oh, well, he was like, go for the girls. I was like, no. I said, you told me Azriel and Joy wasn't getting along, and that's why you couldn't help Joy because Azriel told you all type of nasty shit that fucking Joy did to her, and that she wasn't fucking with Joy.
So what was supposed to have been so nasty but that Joy did to Azriel?
I don't know. Supposedly she's to snitch on her or some shit.
But if you ain't doing nothing fucked up, what is that a snitch to?
Exactly. So I don't know. Because Kel's Nation told me, I don't know who the fuck Kel's Nation is, but Kel's Nation told me.
Is Demetria Felder and your boy, Fat Man Scoop.
Okay, well, Kel's Nation told me that the reason that Azriel was the one on the visitation list and not Joy was not because she was his favorite. It was because he didn't trust her.
He didn't trust Joy?
Azriel. They said it's a lot of shit that people don't know. This is what they told me in my DM. They ain't put it publicly. They said it's a lot of stuff that people don't know. And they was like, as Riel was not the one on that visitation list because she was his favorite. She was on that list because he didn't trust her. And he felt like he needed to keep his eye on her.
That sounds like something Don would say.
Well, maybe it is Don. I don't know. Must be pretty difficult for Don to sit there and talk to me all the time. And I had that explosion on him, though. If that is him.
Well, when you make yourself a third party, it's not.
True. True.
And when you want to do shit to keep somebody close, you better not reveal who you are.
True. Because I remember the last time that Don emailed me. I was like, call me, and number change. I called, and he was just like, is this number going to stay the same? You keep changing your number. He was like, I need a number for you. Like, I need one. I'm like, why the fuck do you need a number for me? Because I'm like, at this point, this nigga locked up. We ain't really got shit to talk about. So, the fuck you need a number for me for?
Again, I think my problem was when everybody was talking, me, Block, Levi, Angelo. We always talk on the phone because me and Sylvia was at the farmer's market. Then I was like, yo, if there's anybody that I settle down with out of all this, it'd be Cash. But then Angela was like, yeah, yo, she a real good person, yo. And she went through a dude fucking her over and all this shit. Yo, I think y'all two will make a real good couple, yo. I'm going to put a word in for you.
He mentioned you, of course, but definitely not like that. Because he was like, you going to break it to him? That was his energy. You going to tell him that's mine? You going to break it to him? I'm like, ugh, shut up. He found it funny. I think Dana got a little crush on you now. Yeah, he brought it up. It's Angelo for you. That is Angelo for you. Because he had... I ain't even gonna go there. But when he felt like me and Block were talking, he sent people to tell Block not to talk to me. Ever. Which was funny.
He sent people like who?
His partner in crime.
Larry?
Mm-hmm.
So Block don't talk to you no more?
I mean, we never really were. That's the point.
Right.
When he thought.
I'm trying to figure out, like...
That's what I'm saying. When he thought. Because he was like, oh, because I know he a type. I know. But I'm like, yo, what's up with you? Like, but one thing about it, I don't know if this nigga be listening to my phone calls. I don't know if Angelo has hacked into my phone. Like, he be knowing stuff he should not know. And I don't understand how he knows certain things. Because they're things that I just don't understand how he knows.
Well, I know Block was tight with him, and then Levi got close with him too, and I pulled away from that shit.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
And when Angelo made that comment, didn't know that I was watching that whole fucking live. When he said, "Oh, Dana really don't fuck with us like that. Dana talked to us once in a blue moon." Right, I don't fuck with y'all.
But the funny thing is, he tells a different story because he said he don't fuck with you. Gotta watch you, stuff like that. See, Angelo play a lot of fucking games. He really do.
He don't fuck with who?
You. Like, he'll talk to you every once in a while or whatever, but he really ain't, too out on it, whatever. That's why I said, I don't know if Larry, that he be doing him like that too. Because he be like, well, I ain't got nothing to do with what you're doing. Like, I don't know what's up with him. I don't, he all friendly with the feds and shit. I don't know what the fuck going on with that nigga. Like, that's how he plays shit off. When he really do be talking to the people. So anybody this nigga say he don't talk to, more than likely he talks to.
That nigga used to call my phone every fucking day. I got screenshots.
I believe you. I believe you. You don't even have to say, I 100% believe you. Because I watch how Angelo moves. Like, over time, I've really, I get it now. I see how he's doing things. The only part of this I can't stand, now don't get me wrong, I hate the fact that he's done me the way he's done me, but I care about Rob. I really do. And I don't like this. Especially the way it's looking like this was really a setup all along with him and his fucking daughter. That shit got me hot. I don't like the way they moving. I don't like the way this bitch acting. I just don't like it. Now, if I'm wrong, and this shit he was doing to this girl that I don't know about, then, hey, I can't speak on that because I was not present for what the fuck they went through. But I still don't like the way the shit looks because it looks like it's funny shit going on. Period.
And then it's funny because Tyrese asked me a question today. Tyrese was like, Dana, why was Holly on that shit? I said, I don't know. He said, nah, I ain't trying to hear that shit. The whole time, she telling me that she loved Rob and that she don't want it to happen, but then she pop up on that bullshit.
Because maybe Sudi and them made them really think. Because you know how Sudi was talking. Like she was trying to be fair. All of this bullshit.
Yep.
Let me clear something up real quick. I'm laughing because a lot of the lies that was put out there has now been cleared up. That's why I'm laughing. So it's funny to me how them folks lie, and then when the truth come out, everybody's silent. That's why I'm laughing. So at the end of the day, I can go on and on.
Please women.
Well, I mean, did you have 5 women in the room at the same time?
If I could, I would. I wish I could.
And
I
get
five women to agree to sleep with me. If any man could, he would. If I could have 2 girlfriends right now, like he had, and they was cool with it, I would.
Okay, so this is the reason that I said that. I don't have that kind of life. 1, 2, not nowhere close to it. You probably me different. But when you start hearing this, hey, listen, a lot of women beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So whoever may think that's true, some women may think I'm a handsome nigga. I don't know. You know, I ain't putting no words in nobody's mouth. But the bottom line is this, man. That's people listen to Rob's music, and I'm a fan of his music. You know, and when you hear about from the women some of the women who don't feel badly about it, that they were young women and they were fans of Rob's, and some of the situations, some of these women had sexual, and this is me having personal conversation with certain people. First encounter, with a celebrity, and then to appease that celebrity, now they thrown in a room with 5 women. You know what I'm saying? And to stay in that room so they can get at him, they got to do them too. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of shit like that happened. And now this woman is grown up and she doesn't have a regular sex appetite where her husband is enough because she's going back to that shit that happened in that room. That was perpetuated by somebody's thirst for sex. So, you know what I'm saying? So to me, that is an issue because they're lasting.
Not if you're agreeing to do that. That's not by force. Yo,
I'm not saying, listen, if I eat myself to death, right, that's a problem. If I sit here and eat myself, I'm fatter than a motherfucking die, that's a problem that I need help with, right? Well, the same thing could apply to sex. Because right now, sex is the reason he in that motherfucker, not great music, who he chose to have sex with.
No,
right?
He's not in jail because of sex. He's in jail because of money.
No, when they use sex, what about you take the sex away? Have you had been fucking little nappy head bitches and had found a nice woman that had some officer, they wouldn't have been able to use that to get them.
They
But
probably would
because of that
have
problem
used
they had as a
something
kid,
else. They would have used something else. But the fact that the nigga like to fuck is not a crime.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is. But listen, it's what they used against him, though.
I'm talking about addiction. Let's stick with addiction. What's too much sex in a day?
You asking me? That's a loaded question, bro. That's a loaded question. Because too much sex for me may be.
If you ask the average woman, how many times would they like to have sex with their significant other a week?
Be careful with that answer.
How many of them go? If you ask them, how many days of the week? Matter of fact, ladies in the chat, ladies.
Yeah, please go there because I'm not answering that. You ain't getting me in no trouble.
You ain't gonna answer this, ladies. Out of 7 days, ladies, in the week, if you in a commitment or a relationship, or you having sex with somebody that you in love with, or that you are clean and y'all say having safe sex with, how many times a week would you like to have sex? Fellas, how many times would you like to have sex a week from 7 days? Out of 7 days, how many of those days would you like to have sex? Please, and put those numbers in the chat, please. Look, brother, 7 days. Someone look, 14 to 28 times a week.
See, it's a whole bunch. So take all those numbers and come up with an average, and that's my answer. But I'm not talking about 16. Who put that? You said 20 to 30. Who the fuck did 20 to 30?
Look, I'm saying every day. Natasha, every day.
Adrian?
Look, 2 to 3 times a day. These are women,
adrenaline?
brother.
20?
These are women. Every night. At least 6 times a week. Come on, brother. I'm telling you, that shit is bullshit.
Wow.
Man, I got some women that I dated, man. If they could fuck me all day and then have to go to work, they would
Daddy
do
Lolo,
it.
cut it out, Daddy Lolo.
I'm telling you, brother, that ain't no
Listen. Listen.
About Rob. Rob is in the studio all fucking night.
Listen, man. I'm not gonna disagree with I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. But what I'm simply saying is, when it's something that can take you down, and it wasn't a sex problem. It was the same issue with Chuck Berry when they came up with the Mann Act. You feel what I'm saying? You have to know that these people will use whatever it is that that can be considered a weakness or considered an addiction against you. Michael Jackson's was kids. That ain't no fucking problem. But look what they took him down with, fucking kids. How do you turn that into some deviant shit? So anything that we do, we have to realize it cannot be on full display like that for them to use that shit against you. And not only was Rob's on full display as far as the women were concerned, but hell, everybody knew that shit. All y'all do take 4 5 funnies just to make me feel right. That's what he say. Come on now. So they used that, and that's what took him down. It wasn't nothing else.
Yeah, but they.
No.
You ever heard of the Playboy Mansion?
Absolutely. We're not talking about white people. We're not talking about white people. Because ain't none of them going to shit for the dumb shit we're going to.
Brother, we talking about humans.
Listen, that man went to the one, Hefner, he was idolized. We're not talking about them. Now if you want to talk about.
Idolized?
Huh?
R. Kelly's idolized.
Say it again. You went out.
R. Kelly is idolized.
Like I simply said, we're not talking about white people. We're talking about black people who own intellectual property and culture that they want to rape of. All this shit, the true culprit in all this is our culture. That's the true culprit. They got shit to do with sex. He could have sex 1,000,000 times a day because there's kings in Africa and there's kings in goddamn motherfucking sultans in Brunei and goddamn rulers in fucking wherever that's having sex 10 times a day. Whenever they want what they want, they get it done. But over here in America, where we own all this rich culture that rocks the fucking world, to the tune of 30 million platinum, that's a problem because he controls numbers. And culture is a problem.
Right.
That's where the truth comes in.
And I want you to answer this question for the kids that didn't grow up in the era that we grew up in. You said you heard of the Playboy Mansion. How many women was in there? If you could just guess.
I have no clue. Why would I want to guess that? That's disgusting. I don't want to know about how many people were in there.
Brother, I'm just trying to make a point. The Playboy Mansion, right?
Okay.
How many women do you think that Hugh Hefner had staying in there?
I have no clue. I don't think about that kind of shit.
More than 5?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't buy Playboy. Don't support it. Don't go on the websites. Nothing. Don't know. Ain't Hugh Hefner dead, by the way?
I believe he's dead now. Yeah.
So he ain't got none living in there. That's my guess.
All right. Have you ever even heard of the Playboy Mansion?
I lived across the street from it. I stayed at 448 East Ontario.
How many
directly across the street. They was retired.
Have you ever even heard of rumors of celebrities going there to have sex?
No, no, I have not.
Nothing. No, you don't think nothing ever happened at the Playboy Mansion?
No, when I said, well, okay, I lived across the street. It wasn't the Playboy Mansion anymore. They had somebody, but it was where it used to be, and it had the name right on the side of the building.
Right.
So it was there at one point, but it wasn't acting as the Playboy Mansion when I lived in the building that I did.
Right. Well, my point is this: Hugh Hefner had over 5-10 women living in the house with him for years. Celebrities used to go there all the time and fucking have 2, 3, 4, 5 some orgies, all kind of shit. Right?
I'm assuming
R. Kelly was dating these girls. Hugh Hefner was selling pussy.
That's true.
And he ain't never get no Mann Act. He didn't never get arrested. This nigga had a whole bunch of bitches. People wore the Playboy bunny. Motherfuckers got the costume.
They did with Harvey Weinstein. Mission fucked up. But as long as one of us are good, mission straight.
He did it on a grand scale in front of the whole world.
Okay.
And nobody says shit.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Now, go grab all the girls that lived in the Playboy Mansion.
Right.
And tell them motherfuckers to tell you some of them stories that happened in there. I bet you that shit is way worse than R. Kelly.
I'm sure 20 years from now, maybe 10, 5, we're going to hear the story about what went down. And because media needs something else to talk about now that they took Rob. They'll eventually, they always go after 1 or 2 of their own. Look what they did with Harvey Weinstein and Weinstein, so they'll find some reason to go after somebody else. It is. They have to throw in a token every now and then to make it seem balanced, Let me address something that people have been asking and people have been saying. First of all, I don't have any of fucking Rob's music or his memorabilia or his gold records for sale any fucking where. If I was going to put shit out there, I would put it on my platform, nmebuild.com. Why the fuck would I make somebody else some money when I got a platform I can put it out there on my own? I'm not about that shit. I'm about making sure we keep the money within, not giving it to somebody else. So I don't have shit on eBay. Whoever's lying and saying that I do not. All of his music is safe, tucked away, waiting for him to say what he wants to be done with the shit. And until that happens, it's going to stay safe and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there in certain places, secured and copyrighted in the building that I did.
Right. But my point is this. Hugh Hefner had over 5-10 women living in the house with him for years. Celebrities used to go there all the time and fucking have 2, 3, 4, 5 some orgies, all kind of shit. Right?
I'm assuming
R. Kelly was dating these girls. Hugh Hefner was selling pussy.
That's true.
And he ain't never get no Mann Act. He didn't never get arrested. This nigga had a whole bunch of bitches. People wore the Playboy bunny. Motherfuckers got the costume during fucking Halloween and all kind of shit. Magazines, all that shit for the same fucking lifestyle R. Kelly got as an R&B singer. But this man fucking put a logo on his shit, got a whole bunch of bitches in his house dressed up as bunnies, and he never get arrested.
Right.
But you say because he white.
What other reason would it be?
I would like to know.
I mean, what other reason would it be outside of that? I mean, I don't see no other reason outside because he white. Because we just know R. Kelly went to jail for similar shit. I mean, he was selling the pussy, it was all for him. That's the damn show. But yeah, I mean, so his crime was a lot less. But the problem, I guess, you know, when you add Me Too to it and the women's movement and shit like that, and you got groupies that are scorned and pissed because he said bye. Now they have an organization to perpetuate the shit and make it seem a little bigger. I mean, who knows if they would ever went after you? I doubt it, but you know, Rob seemed to be
No, he's
an easy
white.
target.
Yeah, you said it right. I was just making my point.
Okay, well that's it. Okay, you
That
got me to say it for you.
He did it on a grand scale in front of the whole world.
Okay.
And nobody
Okay.
says shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay.
now go grab all the girls that lived in the Playboy Mansion.
Right.
And tell them motherfuckers to tell you some of them stories that happened in there. I bet you that shit is way worse than R. Kelly.
I'm sure 20 years from now, maybe 10, 5, we're gonna hear the story about what went down, and because media needs something else to talk about now that they took Rob. They'll eventually, they always go after one or two of their own. Look what they did with Harvey Weinstein and Weinstein, you know. So they'll find some reason to go after somebody else. It is. They have to throw in a token every now and then to make it seem balanced, you know. Let me address something that people have been asking and people have been saying. First of all, I don't have any of fucking Rob's music or his memorabilia or his gold records for sale any fucking where. If I was gonna put shit out there, I would put it on my platform, nmebuild.com. Why the fuck would I make somebody else some money when I got a platform I can put it out there on my own? I'm not about that shit. I'm about making sure we keep the money within, not giving it to somebody else. So I don't have shit on eBay. Whoever's lying and saying that I do not. All of his music is safe, tucked away, waiting for him to say what he wants to be done with the shit. And until that happens, it's gonna stay safe and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there in certain places, secured and copyright. So all that shit about me putting out his music, I don't want a dime off of none of that shit. If I set up a platform and whatever I spend, I expect to get paid that back and any fucking percentage for my work, which may be 10 to 20 based on how much I put in. But other than that, that's his shit. And I don't take pride in taking nothing from no motherfucking body else. So I don't care what none of y'all saying about that. In that trash right the fuck now. I don't steal people's shit. 46 years in, I'm sorry, I'm 46 years old. 30 years in the game. I ain't never been known as a thief until you motherfuckers is coming with this shit now. So cut it out. Stop it. Now let's get on with the show.
Let me ask you, Dubowski took a picture with his Billboard award. He said you let him take a picture with it. He pulled it out a pillowcase with a bunch of other shit that you had in there.
I know Dubowski's a lying motherfucker. I had this right here. This award is still sitting in my house to this day, and it's gonna sit here. That's one. That's the other one, and that's a picture of my brother. That's it. That's all I got as far as memorabilia. Rob gave me a watch. I recently gave that to Kerry because Kerry didn't have shit of his own brother, so I gave it to Kerry and said, "Man, this is from your brother. Keep it." It was a real expensive fucking watch. I gave it to Kerry, and that was it. But I ain't got no bag full of shit. I got masters in music. The masters can't fit in no fucking bag. It takes a truck to move them, and the music is on the drive. So I don't know what the fuck else Dubowski's talking about. He's lying. But go ahead.
But he had a picture with it. You let him take a picture with it?
I just showed him the pictures right there.
Oh, yeah, because some people were saying
that I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that I got those.
He buried it in his backyard.
No, they was at the warehouse when we took the fucking stuff out of there, and I said, you know, I'm gonna just keep 2 of these as a keepsake. So what, man? I didn't steal shit. I had permission to be in there. Rob was locked the fuck up. All that shit we were talking about putting it on auction sites to raise money for his defense. So what the fuck is the problem?
You see how he tell on himself? You see how he tell on himself? Just pay attention. He tell on himself.
He never get arrested.
And I'm gonna say this: the only people that follow this dude are the ones that's in to taking Rob's stuff from him, along with this dude.
Says shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay.
Now, go grab all the girls that lived in the Playboy Mansion.
Right.
And tell them motherfuckers
copyright. So all that shit about me putting out his music, I don't want a dime off of none of that shit.
and he never get arrested.
Right.
But
Okay.
you say because he white.
What other reason would it be?
I would like to know.
I mean, what other reason would it be outside of that? I mean, I don't see no other reason outside because he white. Because we just know R. Kelly went to jail for similar shit. I mean, he was selling the pussy, it was all for him. That's the damn show. But yeah, I mean, so his crime was a lot less. But the problem, I guess, you know, when you add Me Too to it and the women's movement and shit like that, and you got groupies that are scorned and pissed because he said bye. Now they have an organization to perpetuate the shit, make it seem a little bigger. I mean, who knows if they would have ever went after you? I doubt it, but you know, Rob seemed to be
No,
an
he's
easy
white.
target.
Yeah, you said it right. I was just making my point.
Okay, well that's it. Okay, you
That
got me to say it.
he did it on a grand scale in front of the whole world.
Okay,
and nobody
okay.
said shit.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Okay.
now, go grab all the girls that lived in the Playboy Mansion.
Right.
And tell them motherfuckers to tell you some of them stories that happened in there. I bet you that shit is way worse than R. Kelly.
I'm sure 20 years from now, maybe 10, 5, we're going to hear the story about what went down. And because media needs something else to talk about now that they took Rob. They'll eventually, they always go after one or two of their own. Look what they did with Harvey
Right, Stephanie.
Weinstein, you know, so they'll find some reason to go after somebody else it is. They have to throw in a token every now and then to make it seem balanced, you know. Let me address something that people have been asking and people have been saying. First of all, I don't have any of fucking Rob's music or his memorabilia or his gold records for sale any fucking where. If I was gonna put shit out there, I would put it on my platform, indiebill.com. Why the fuck would I make somebody else some money when I got a platform I can put it out there on my own? I'm not about that shit. I'm about making sure we keep the money within, not giving it to somebody else. So I don't have shit on eBay. Whoever's lying and saying that I do not. All of his music is safe, tucked away, waiting for him to say what he wants to be done with the shit. And until that happens, it's gonna stay safe and tucked away. I have every unfucking released album, and all the motherfuckers are sitting there in certain places, secured and copyright. So all that shit about me putting out his music, I don't want a dime off of none of that shit. If I set up a platform and whatever I spend, I expect to get paid that back and any fucking percentage for my work, which may be 10 to 20 based on how much I put in. But other than that, that's his shit. And I don't take pride in taking nothing from no motherfucking body else. So I don't care what none of y'all saying about that. In that trash right the fuck now. I don't steal people's shit. 46 years in, I'm sorry, I'm 46 years old. 30 years in the game. I ain't never been known as a thief until you motherfuckers is coming with this shit now. So cut it out. Stop it. Now let's get on with the show.
Let me ask you, Dabrowski took a picture with his Billboard award. He said you let him take a picture with it. He pulled it out a pillowcase with a bunch of other shit that you had in there.
I know Dabrowski's a lying motherfucker. I had this right here. This award is still sitting in my house to this day, and it's gonna sit here. That's one. That's the other one, and that's a picture of my brother. That's it. That's all I got as far as memorabilia. Rob gave me a watch. I recently gave that to Kerry because Kerry didn't have shit of his own brother, so I gave it to Kerry and said, "Man, this is from your brother. Keep it." It was a real expensive fucking watch. I gave it to Kerry, and that was it. But I ain't got no bag full of shit. I got masters in music. The masters can't fit in no fucking bag. It takes a truck to move them, and the music is on the drive. So I don't know what the fuck else Dabrowski's talking about. He's lying. But go ahead.
But he had a picture with it. You let him take a picture with
it? I just showed him the pictures right there.
Oh, yeah, because some people were saying that
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that I got those.
He buried it in his backyard. That's
no, they was at the warehouse when we took the fucking stuff out of there, and I said, you know, I'm gonna just keep two of these as a keepsake. So what, man? I didn't steal shit. I had permission to be in there. Rob was locked the fuck up. All that shit we were talking about putting it on auction sites to raise money for his defense. So what the fuck is the problem? I mean, you know, nobody's saying that I stole shit but knuckleheads. Keith is the one that was in there with me. Trust me, he got a ton of shit too. So cut all that shit out about somebody stole something. We were tasked to handle certain things after he got fucked up, and that's what we're doing. It's no chance that I got his intellectual property and Keith got his power of attorney. You don't give everything to one person. If I get caught and I got power of attorney and intellectual property, mission fucked up. But as long as one of us are good, mission straight. Period.
Right. You know, you don't feel like you violated when you said the nigga had when you say he had a couple of sex tapes or sex videos. He's like, yeah, you know, he fucking, you know, he fucking. So you ain't feel violated seeing this nigga fucking?
What'd you say?
I said you didn't feel like you was violating his privacy watching him fuck in them sex videos?
Nigga, he had a sex tape on fucking for sale on the internet. How the fuck am I violating it with people watching them pissing on bitches and shit? Come on now. Whatever the fuck happened with that
Because
shit.
that shit ain't public.
Yes, they took that shit out. I was selling them shit in Jewtown around here. Come on, man. Cut that shit out. It's like Rob goes on tour every day and puts his ass and his dick and everything in front of people, in front of millions of people. And me saying that's a problem? He in videos talking about fucking and second and fucking 5 or 6 bitches, and me saying that is a problem? Come on, now let's be real with this shit. Don't just make it a problem because I said it.
Can you say
He said it too. Shit.
Can you say who you saw him fucking?
No, I didn't see him. What you mean? I saw the tapes.
I can't.
Man, people are just funny when they lose their sense of just humility. Yourself that question: why they ain't none of their asses on trial? Our corporation opens up and starts generating money, and he just put yours back, nigga. He owes you. You can't hear me?
Nah, see, guys, when did he ever find this out?
Now, on my end, that was looking, I was like, this contract, this signature looked familiar to property, and put that shit out however he wanted.
A million copies. Them motherfuckers
Right.
tell me. Right.
That's it.
Damn, man. That shit is. There's a lot for a person that just got into the entertainment industry just to be a singer, to turn around and wind up in jail, potentially for a long time, and all you wanted to do was sing.
Yeah.
Shit crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what they do, though, man. You know, people have to realize that, you know, that this industry ain't never loved artists. It's loved money, you know what I mean? And it uses artists to get money, you know. And part of that is, you know, at the end of the day, what's old is always new again. This motherfucker right now dying to get a 67 Chevy. You know what I'm saying? So that music is going to be new again someday. However they got the digitally remaster that shit, it's going to be new. Whether they use it for a movie or whatever, it's gonna be new again. It's gonna make them some more money down the road, and that's what they know. Whether somebody, how many songs have been redone today that were hits yesterday? A lot. So Rob's music sales, it wasn't in the beginning,
Yeah,
but
it's
you know,
different from shit knowing you shipped a fucking
7 Chevy. You know, it's gonna be new.
TV and films and commercials, so they making their money back like that because everything's digital now, and we can't keep track of digital sales. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's more technology in place now to keep track of digital sales. It wasn't in the beginning.
Yeah,
But,
it's
you know,
different from shit knowing you shipped a fucking million copies. Them motherfuckers telling you bring a million copies. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, but the big deal is you got to think about the overseas market. A lot of those people over there are really loyal fans. You know, piracy and stuff happens a lot here in some countries. But when you go to places like Germany and, you know, Africa, well, not Africa, some parts of Africa, not
Listen to the play.
Listen
to the play.
They're gonna buy it. So a lot of, you know, releases that happen here are gonna get released over there. People are gonna go nuts about this shit. They'll make their money all over again. I mean, people are
I
using
got
for
a lot of
movies.
people over there that own labels. They call me up, and then I hook them up with artists here, and they license they back catalogs if they own them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
They'll be
So,
like, yo, Choke, you know Master P, we want to get this one album, or you know, Baby, yo, we want to get this album, and then you know, I'll plug them, and they'll sell them or license the album to them overseas, and then they make bread. You know what I'm saying? I get a little commission.
yeah. It's so many possibilities with that, you know, music stuff that, you know, the road to riches is endless. So that's why it's advantageous for a label to end up with a person's masters and intellectual property, and their publishing. I mean, and you know, so that's the real side to it. You know, a lot of people don't get it, but that's our culture. I mean, you know, Rob was born with a gift from God. And like I said it in the last interview, and I'll say it again. He gave him a gift, and it's one thing to understand that he needed that gift to get in the game, and he used it and got in the game, right? But at a certain point, like when Rob did that album "Trade in My Life," I think he was talking directly to God based on some shit that he already went through. And he made a promise to God, and he broke it because he allowed them people to use him again to sell the kind of music that pushed their agenda. So you can't do that. You can't betray, and I don't know that that's what it is, but it makes sense to me based on shit that I've been through. And many times, you've been down for dumb shit or been involved with it, and you say you ain't gonna do it again, you do it again, you get caught. But it's only when you say I'm done with that shit that life changed for you, and you don't get caught, and you can move on to the next level. So for me, it was something along those lines because it's too much spiritual. You can feel God in all of this. You know what I'm saying, he picked the perfect person, somebody who had been battered before, somebody who had been in the trenches before. He was born poor, fought with his brothers, lived in his car, all the worst kind of shit. Rob went through that shit, in his childhood. You know what I mean? Trapped in the closet with none but him. I mean, like literally being raped by your fucking sister. Come on, who the fuck on this line can talk from that vantage point? Not very many of us. So that created a person that could take a lot of shit. He built Ford tough than a motherfucker, right? So thinking about that, it took him to be able to, whatever God is doing, it takes somebody as strong in that as he is to be able to endure it, to see it through on the other side. So that does mean I do believe God is working right now. I don't know exactly what he's doing. None of us do, but I can feel it. It's like, why would you put me in this shit? Somebody who's done none but served you. I had my day when I did them. They were minor in comparison to some of the sit down at the table with other gangsters, which I said, okay, I don't think that's a good strategy, man. But we had all this footage. So that footage, I had compiled that with some invested 60,000. He read the business plan because it was one of the one, and it was the funniest thing was it was the technicality that got me out. I was in there. I was done. I wrote a business plan for the company at Indie Bill that I got now. I wrote the business plan while I was sat down long enough to write a business plan. And then when I got out, I went to school, learned technology, but I went to court. Never forget going to court. And the shit hadn't made it, nor the money or whatever. And it was the judge was pissed off, like, fuck this shit, I'm throwing it out. I've been sitting there 6 months fighting the case. I mean, so when I got out, I got this idea. I have a plan now. I went to school. I went to school 3 months trying to learn technology because I'm gonna build a platform, but I don't know how to build the shit, which was Indie Bill. And my teacher invested 60,000. He read the business plan because it was one of the assignments that we had to graduate was to turn in a fucking business plan on what you would do. So I told my group, listen, I got one I wrote already. I turned in here, invested 60 grand. That led to 2.7 million. Me raising from family and friends and people in the industry. So, but I had a plan. You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest thing that I'm getting at with that. So I believe that in this time, if Rob comes up with a great plan, a technicality will bust them motherfuckers right on about it, bust them right on about that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And it could be this lady Jean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But I do know God is at work.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, is there anything you want to address that I didn't ask you?
No, I mean, I'm pretty much, I've said everything I need to say. I've done enough interviews, man. But this is one thing for certain, two things for sure. If motherfuckers start, I didn't want to be in yesterday's, thing with you, but people are attacking my people. My son, he's 7 years old. He don't deserve the shit that he's hearing in school. Um, my mom's house got broken into. I had the incident where my car got broken into. Let me address that. Let's address the car breaking too, because a lot of people had shit to say about that. So we were in California. So we had did a documentary on Rob before he got arrested, and this was right before Lifetime came out. We had talked to Rob. Was like, man, listen, we need to get ahead of this Lifetime thing. Let's put out a video of you telling your side of the story, everything, talk about everything. So he agreed to it. Then he had a change of heart after we filmed the motherfucker. He was like, I was like, he was like, I said, Rob, so what the fuck? He was like, nah, man, we gonna get the last word. I said, nah. Remember that scene in fucking 8 Mile where dude said everything they was gonna say? People weren't interested no more. Let's get out and get ahead of this thing. Nah, we gonna have the last word. I said, okay. I don't think that's a good strategy, man. But we had all this footage. So that footage, I had compiled that with some concerts that was not seen before, some interviews that people never saw. And we were going to put together this docu-series of 6 episodes. And that was around the time I had negotiated it with A&E. And that's all in the paper, how that deal got shot to shit. But anyway, because of one of the people at A&E leaked it. So,
But I thought he never negotiated a deal and with A&E. boy, you just let him talk.
So we dropped the video. No. We were getting ready to edit the video, and Rob stopped it. So now he's gone. He's locked up. Me and Keith sat down and we said we need to do this shit. So I said, listen, studios in LA. I got people out there. This is before I built the studio downstairs. I said I'm gonna go get one of my homies. I know we're gonna go out there. We're gonna edit this thing and put it together. So the only reason that shit was in my car was because I had the drives. I had all the drives from all the stuff that we were going to be doing. My computer was in there. I had a few video cameras in there too, because we were, in case we needed to reshoot some shit out there, or some B-roll footage or whatever be the case. I had everything in the truck. We were going to the studio to start editing that shit, and somebody broke it and stole everything. Now, initially, I thought it was Angelo Clary because the nigga was saying stupid ass shit to me right around that. And if everybody saw the little exchange, so I thought he had something. I'm like, well, after some time went by, I'm like, it couldn't have been Angelo because he didn't know what the fuck I had with me. There was only one other person that knew.
So here's what get me. These people be thinking that as people, they go live and destroy people's character, but then they won't come live and rebuild their character when they found out it's not that person. That's the same problem that I'm having on these YouTube streets with these dumb motherfucker wannabe bloggers. Let's finish.
So that one other person that knew was Keith. And that's the problem I had because he knew what we were doing because he was out there with me to help me do it. I wasn't out there doing that shit by myself. He'd been a part of this shit the whole time, but yet telling people that I've been the long horseman doing the shit, which is blowing the fuck out of me until I realized that nigga don't mind. No, I mean, I'm pretty much, I've said everything I need to say. I've done enough interviews, man. But this is one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. If motherfuckers start, I didn't want to be in yesterday's, thing with you, but people are attacking my people. My son, he's 7 years old. He don't deserve the shit that he's hearing in school. My mom's house got broken into. I had the incident when my car got broken into. Let me address that. Let's address the car break into because a lot of people had shit to say about that. So we were in California. So we did a documentary on Rob before he got arrested. And this was right before Lifetime came out. We had talked to Rob. Was like, man, listen, we need to get ahead of this Lifetime thing. Let's put out a video of you telling your side of the story, everything, talk about everything. So he agreed to it. Then he had a change of heart after we filmed the motherfucker. He was like, I said, Rob, so what the fuck? He's like, no, man, we're gonna get the last word. I said, nah. Remember that scene in fucking 8 Mile where dude said everything they was gonna say? People weren't interested no more. Let's get out and get ahead of this thing. Nah, we're gonna have the last word. I said, okay. I don't think that's a good strategy, man. But we had all this footage. So that footage, I had compiled that with some concerts that was not seen before, some interviews that people never saw. And we were going to put together this docu-series of 6 episodes. And that was around the time I had negotiated it with A&E. And that's all in the paper, how that deal got shot to shit. But anyway, because of one of the people at A&E leaked it. So, we dropped the video. No. We were getting ready to edit the video, and Rob stopped it. So now he's gone. He's locked up. Me and Keith sat down and we said we need to do this shit. So I said, listen, studios in LA. I got people out there. This is before I built the studio downstairs. I said I'm gonna go get one of my homies. I know we're gonna go out there. We're gonna edit this thing and put it together. So the only reason that shit was in my car was because I had the drives. I had all the drives from all the stuff that we were going to be doing. My computer was in there. I had a few video cameras in there too because we were, in case we needed to reshoot some shit out there, or some B-roll footage or whatever be the case. You know, I had everything in the truck. We were going to the studio to start editing that shit, and somebody broke in and stole everything. Now, initially, I thought it was Angelo Clary because the nigga was saying stupid ass shit to me right around that, and if everybody saw the little exchange, so I thought he had something. I'm like, well, after some time went by, I'm like, it couldn't have been Angelo because he didn't know what the fuck I had with me. There was only one other person that knew. So that one other person that knew was Keith. And that's the problem I had because he knew what we were doing because he was out there with me to help me do it. I wasn't out there doing that shit by myself. He been a part of this shit the whole time, but yet telling people that I've been the long horseman doing the shit, which is blowing the fuck out of me until I realized that nigga don't, my opinion is he wants to keep control of Rob's money because he.
So now Don is trying to get Keith a charge and he's trying to get people to come after Keith. Listen to this shit.
Has control of Rob's money and his power of attorney right now. So when that shit got stolen out of my car, he was the only motherfucker that knew that I did it. They wasn't expecting. Where I parked at, I was on a block that was heavily populated on Melrose with video cameras because people had just got their houses looted and shit, so they put up new camera systems. It caught the whole motherfucking thing. We've got license plate, we've got people doing the shit. So the FBI and them are all still investigating that because they're trying to see the direct person that it leads to. It's still going through the protocol of the FBI. I don't know who's at the top of it, but whoever it is, they're going to find them. And it's as simple as that. So that is what happened. I wasn't carelessly walking around with his shit. We were going to the studio. I had it all on me because when you're editing, you don't know what you're going to do. It's a director producing the edit. And he may say, let's cut to this at this point. Do you have any footage that's like family oriented or whatever? Do you have any concert footage? So I had it all with me at the time because of that. The only good thing is that a lot of the shit was backed up to my cloud, and I had a lot of stuff still backed up at home to another drive. So I still had a lot of this stuff. So that's that. But a lot of the paperwork, I don't have no more. I lost a lot of the paperwork, but I know where to get that back from. The contracts and all that shit that were in the portals, all that stuff is with me on different drives, and that stuff I don't have, but I can get back. I just got to go through the portals to get it. So that's it.
Right.
Nobody go in there. Tasha K said something to me that was real profound. She said, Don, she said, listen, I want you to come on my show. She came here to Chicago and she looked at a lot of the stuff that I had. And that's when she took the video down that she had put up. And she was like, Don, I'm sorry. And I want to publicly apologize to you for the video that I put out. I was misled. She said the same thing on the video. But what she didn't say to y'all, she said to me, she said, Don, a lie left unchallenged will turn the truth. Yeah. So that's why, people are like, why is this nigga out? He this, he that, why is he doing? That's why. Because nobody's dealing with the negative consequences. I wake up to the emails, I wake up to the inboxes of all this hate mail and shit that people are sending me, and it's like, I'm not gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna sit down there and remain quiet while motherfuckers like the DanaJays and the Sharon Winbushes are flat out fucking lying. I'm saying, lying, just straight lying. For no fucking reason at all, outside of the fact that they're protecting people that stole from him. Sharon works for Barry Hankinson. I said that very vivid, loudly. Did she ever refuse?
What have I lied about? Everything I said has been spot on and on point with this dude. Now, let's finish this up. And then we out of here.
It's R. Kelly's manager, nonprofit that went to jail for this bullshit. I mean, who the fuck? I can't go talk to nobody about, donate $500,000 to my charity from your charity. They don't want to have shit to do with it. So I had to step down from the company that I started. I had to step down from the foundation that I'm the chairman and the executive director of. And pretty much I can't do shit. I'm waiting to go to jail. And I'm a mirror image of all the shit that I've worked my whole life to accomplish and achieve.
So let's talk about that.
You going for 20 months?
May 10th, you are supposed to be turning yourself in. For
20 months?
20 months is what we read. Is that
65? Well, 85%, 75% of that. So.
Okay. And so let's talk about that because
you are married. You do have kids.
Bringing you into this. I mean, you guys are married. This is your wife. How long have you guys been married?
A year now.
About 8 months.
Yeah, no, almost a year now.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been together?
We're together a year, married 8 months.
Known each other longer than that, though.
Okay, so let's talk about
So all this was going on.
Hold up. Going together a year, married 8 months. Hold that thought. Where I'm at, 40, 45 on there? Okay. Hold on. We ain't playing that game. Here we go. We ain't playing that game. We are not going to play that game. No. No. We ain't playing that game. My name is Alicia Russell. I am Don Russell's wife. We have 4 amazing boys, ages 18, 15, 9, and 8. We also run multiple businesses on a daily basis that we run together. I am the executive director of the Altitude program, NFP TAP. I am the executive director of the Altitude program, right? NFP and TAP. As the ED in this position, I have assisted in raising capital, collaborating partnerships and agreements to complete the construction phase of our 55,000 square feet property in the North Lawndale community on the west side of Chicago. We have had several meetings with our local alderman and congressman that is currently seated in office, which both have provided us with full support since being with Don. He has helped me to raise my posture, confidence, and different perspectives while handling business. In January of 2022, I met Don in one of the most unexpected times of my life. After our first date, we would spend hours and hours on the phone with each other. If we weren't on the phone, we were meeting up to see each other. We started to become inseparable. It truly felt like love at first sight. As of today, we still laugh at how we would act as though we were high school lovebirds, although we had just met. It was such the perfect time for God to bless me with a man like him. There are givers and takers in this world. Don is such a giver. Every time we would dine out, he always requests a to-go bag to wrap up the leftovers and give them to someone on the street who reveals to be homeless. There was another time we were traveling back to Chicago. Okay, whatever. Okay. Don immediately noticed and gave a $100 bill. Okay. It was after 3 weeks of knowing each other, we both felt as though this was God sent. Everything was so perfect. The only thing that was a challenge was the fact that he was from the west side and I lived on the south side of Chicago. It was almost a 45-minute commute to visit him, so we would begin take turns on whose house we would come to and spend the night to stay with each other. We also planned our first family trip. It seemed a little uncommon to our friends because normally things just don't happen so soon. But they began to believe that we were meant for each other because it became a point when we were never not around each other. So when did they get married? When did they get married? Because she's dictating on what happened. So when did they get married?
Ellie.
Going on when y'all got together.
Right.
Okay.
That had to be tough too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's been challenging. I mean, I guess my first question would be, just as a couple, I mean, going through all of this, even you knowing about this and choosing still to get in a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about, I guess, the issues that it's caused and the drama. And I don't know, I know earlier you were talking about threats. I mean, you know, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, walking into it, I had no clue, you know, that, you know, he was involved. You know, he's a very humble guy, you know, so, you know, talking to him, you know, anybody who's around him would know that, you know, he's of a higher standard. So, you know, to be a part of that, it was shocking, you know, but I was like, well, it don't sound like it was too much involved. So, you know, I basically accepted, you know, to still be a part of his life. And, you know, we were building and growing. Things were going pretty great for us. So, you know, that wasn't going to stop me from, you know, having a relationship.
So did you know about the charges and all of that walking into this, or?
No. So as we, started, dating and getting serious, then, we would have conversations. And then that's when he told me about the court dates that was coming up. So, from that point on, I said, well, we're going to lock arms and I'm going to be here with you, every step of the way.
So what have you done to prepare? Because that's a decent amount of time to be gone. You said that when you was a kid, you did little silly stuff, but you ain't never been locked up.
No.
Right.
How do you prepare for that?
Well, I guess that's a dual question. How do you prepare for it?
Because both y'all got to prepare for it.
And then how do you guys as a family prepare for it? Like, what are steps that you guys have taken to prepare for that? Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure walking into this, you didn't know that this would be, you might, I'm pretty sure you're thinking positive. You're thinking, okay, he's going to beat this case.
Right.
He's going to win. I'm pretty sure you were thinking that.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was anything.
Yeah.
It hadn't. I mean, it was like, when they first brought it, I'm like, this is some bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
I sat in the trial, so I'm literally listening to this. I'm like, oh, this is a piece of cake. Like, it's no way that they, can find him guilty. So we go to lunch, come back, we all, feeling positive, and we get back and they're like, yeah, guilty. And my heart was just like, whoa, wait a minute, what just happened? Like, so that at that point, that's when we started doing more research and finding out, like, he was pretty much framed. They had an agenda, and, they wanted to make sure that he be quiet during Rob's trial. So,
and y'all keep referencing this is they. Like,
I mean, because we don't know whoever the prosecutor,
Yeah,
but
prosecutor. I mean,
like you said, it's somebody who...
Federal prosecutor.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something to me. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but you mentioned that you felt like your lawyer was in on this.
Well, and the reason I say that is because, one, after we sat down with some judges a few days ago, and they actually went through the case with us, and they pointed out a lot of shit that my attorney didn't. And that was...
What? You sat down with some judges? What the hell? How are you sitting down with judges unless you are the informant? Oh, okay.
It was damn near criminal, like that he didn't touch on certain things that would have killed this thing in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he never killed the fact that I had only known him, running around him for 8 months. It was a whole complaint and a sealed complaint drafted. He should have killed that in the beginning. The complaint was bogus. I got convicted because of a bogus complaint stating that I was around him for 8 months, that I invested in his career and all this shit. That wasn't true. I should have.
Now, was this an attorney that was R. Kelly affiliated attorney, or is this somebody you found on your own?
This is mine. I mean, I found him. I mean, I found him out in California, and I went to California. I'm thinking he won't know these guys from New York, and he won't play ball with them, And he claimed he was an ex-prosecutor, and and that he would, we would be fine, And what I recall was right before the trial, he was dealing with the Bill Cosby case in California, the civil case. So he never had time, and like my trial started a week after Bill Cosby's. So he never had all of the meetings we were supposed to have to get prepared for it and all this shit. We never had it. So we going into trial like blind. We would sit down before the case and go through, points about the case and shit. And I done paid him $100,000. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then about to give him another $100,000 for the next case. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there like, we'd had a boy in when all of us walked out the court.
Right.
Like, this is, I mean, the only witness they had, it was like, first of all, I kept saying, who the fuck is after me?
Right. United States of America.
I mean, it's the prosecutor that's against me. It had nothing else to do with anybody else, but the prosecutor had a bone to pick because I didn't cooperate when they asked me to in the beginning. And the dude told me, he said, after the trial, the prosecutor said, you was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're not the guy we thought you was.
Have you thought about trying to refight this case?
So this is why I said my lawyer was in on it, because one, he told me that an appeal would cost too much and I wouldn't get it because what they gave me was beneath the federal guidelines. He's like, they gave you less than the federal guidelines. You should take it. And just, and I was like, I said, man, you want me to take on the jail at fucking damn near 50?
Right.
I'm like, nah, man, I can't take that. But he was like, you're not going to win it and they could possibly give you more time. And I was like, yeah, if you fight this, you're going to be right back in front of the same judge. You can get more time. I'm like, man, fuck. He's like, well, you have a certain amount of days to file the appeal. So at this particular point, I'm like, well, what do you appeal? I don't know shit about none of this. Appeals, what I've been here for, none of this. So that's when it's like, okay, we got to start doing research. But we're going to find out that kind of shit, and you don't even know where to look. You know, and in 14 days, however long you had to file this fucking appeal. So it was like, at that point, it's like, I done exhausted my money. We went through a whole year not being able to raise no money because my name ain't attractive to nobody now. We had $1 million deals on the fucking table. Every last one of them pulled back. We built an Oasis on the west side of Chicago, $25 million raised. Every last one of them pulled out. I mean, so to go from me trying to hold the company together and convince investors to stay on board, and now I got to fucking research this case and all that. It was, and I don't have the team I had because I ain't got employees no more. We have to let people go. It's like, how do you find a way to figure that shit out? You hire somebody who's supposed to do his job.
Right.
He didn't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And when I sat down and talked to these new set of lawyers, and they showed me, these judges, they showed me all the shit where he fucked up, I was like, wow, he did fuck me. And I just specifically remember him telling me, if you go in front of this next judge, which is the one I pled guilty to, she's going to give you 5 years. I'm like, for what? I said, dude, I don't even know them bitches, though.
No evidence, no nothing.
No nothing. I said, I don't know that. He said, because she gave Rob 30 years, she going to give you 5.
So this was in New York?
Yeah. I said, man, fuck, I ain't even been to fuck. I've never even been to New York. How the fuck am I out in New York going to fucking trial in New York and I've never even been there? Ain't done shit in New York. They don't even live in New York. I'm like, I was like, fuck. So I'm sitting here, we sitting here like, what the fuck are we gonna do now?
Right.
This motherfucker done got all our fucking money. He basically telling me to throw myself under the fucking bus.
How much money have you exhausted in legal fees so far?
I mean, shit, we talking about over 300,000 total. I mean, you got to look at the
travel time,
back and
forth
to
to New York,
to New York,
a whole week trial, staying at the hotel, like all of that.
Yeah, I spent a lot of fucking money.
Do you have any money left to your name after all of this?
No, I got a dime. I'm broke as fuck. Not a penny. I mean, literally.
So what are the plans? Like, I mean, he's leaving.
How long you're gonna be gone total? Like 12 months?
I don't know. I mean, it's two kinds. It's two different guilties. You got Southern and Eastern District, so they running together, which
concurrent.
is the second. What is it when they run together?
Concurrent. I
Yeah,
thought.
they're running together. So they said, good time and 75% or 85% or whatever.
Right.
It could be as little as 14 months.
Okay, so a little over a year. So,
As much as 16.
How has that been like? What's the plans? What have you guys been doing? I'm pretty sure aside from spending as much time together, I mean, what does that look like?
Nothing but prayer. It's a lot of mental emotions going on, daily, 1 minute, and then as you get closer into the day, it's like we went from looking 6 months away to now being 30 days away to, having this, having to face this. And then, I was telling the attorney, I would prefer, because he had an option to be in Illinois. So we're like, okay, well, if he's somewhere in Chicago, then that's good. But he couldn't be, downtown Chicago because Rob was there. And then back in 2009, my mother was murdered by her boyfriend. So he's in Illinois. So I didn't want to be, in that same facility because, I mess around and bump into him and we're going to have problems, right? So got to go to, Minnesota. So we're talking about a 5-hour drive, empty bank, trying to plan our family to make sure that, we keep food in the refrigerator. Yeah. Eggs is like $10, so it's a lot, financially, mentally, emotionally, talking about an innocent man who has to serve time for something that he didn't do. And, you just stuck. You think going to an attorney would be the right way to go, and that failed, I mean,
even now, we still been communicating with them, and every last one of them got a different story. It's like nothing is consistent. One guy told us about a route that we could take to even, get out of this, and we get to the next guy to question to make sure, because it's like I don't trust nobody now. Mm-hmm. These attorneys, they all work for each other. I don't give a shit what nobody says, and they determine up front whether they're going to let somebody ride or not. You know what I mean? And my attorney, I felt like, when I dialed it back and listened to how he was convincing me, everything that I could have did to get out of this, he did not do. By one, convincing me to take the fucking guilty, on your terms, which I told him, let me talk to the judge directly, because he didn't want me to testify in either one of the cases. And I'm like, I said, well, first they need to know that I don't sound like I'm from New York. Two, the question of why has not been answered to this jury. Why is the fucking prosecution picking on me? And it's because I wasn't cooperating. Ain't nobody told them that. So to the jury's mind, you know, shit, maybe he did do it. I mean, and then I even heard one juror afterwards state that anybody associated with R. Kelly should be guilty. So it was like going into that shit, it was like it was fucked. I mean, you know, and then the next case, plead guilty. And she gave you under the federal guidelines, and if you file an appeal, the appeal is not going to go through because the appeals judge is going to realize it was under the federal guidelines, and you're not going to win the appeal, and you're going to be back in front of her again, and she may decide to give you more time. I'm like, well, I'm just fucked either way it goes, so I might as well go and say this $100,000 I might have to give to you, make sure my family good, and then please take the guilty shit. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Because what I pled guilty to did not warrant time. It was house arrest or fucking ankle braces is what they talked about. I get in front of the fucking jury, then they get this heifer's mother to come and do all this crying, talking about somebody and tormented their family for a year and a half. I'm like, first of all, I don't know you motherfuckers. We established in the other court, but see, the courts are disconnected.
Yeah, you can't bring all the evidence into
from that one over here.
Right.
So I'm like, first of all, I've been on bond for damn near 2 years now. And I mentioned y'all, they would have snatched my fucking bond. So how are you lying and telling? And my attorney never said shit. Like he could have said, Judge, this bitch is lying. Whoever, she's lying because my client can't even mention her per his bond conditions. So how's he gonna say the last year and a half I've been tormenting your family? How? Show me some phone records. And the judge is like, Mr. Russell, seems like you had and I had people from all over writing letters and stuff. You had a great history. You've never been arrested for anything, but you had a lapse in judgment, and I think you deserve 2 years for that. 20 months. 2 years would have put me over the federal guidelines where we could have appealed the shit and had a favorable appeal. But 20 months puts us under the federal guidelines. An appeals judge would have looked at it differently. That's what he explained to me.
Well, that sounds like that may have been intentional, is what you think?
It was. It was.
Do you have an ankle monitor on now? Do you have to be? Oh, okay.
Just can't travel to
certain
outside.
places.
Right.
Okay, I mean,
anything else?
Anything else you want? I mean, I think we pretty much
covered
everything. I mean, is there anything else you want
to
part
get
of
out?
this?
You know, it's just I always say, you know, people have agendas. You know, Rob had an agenda. He wasn't clear on it. You know, he wasn't clear on that in the beginning, which would have, you know, stopped this time. But all this stuff is for a reason. God is in control of everything, and you find out once you get further down the road why things had to take place. Another thing I wanted to touch on is that, you know, my wife has done an exceptional job because she's stepped up to the plate, and this was before that. I mean, you know, I had got COVID when we first met. This is how our relationship propelled to the next level. We were just hanging out, messing around, and I got COVID, and I was in the hospital for 2 months, and she took my company's just taking on this big project. Got all these employees reporting this work. I'm stuck up I went to the hospital bed to get checked on. One thing, they said, man, if you leave here, you're going to be dead in less than a week. She was with me. I'm like, what? You're going to be dead in less than a week. I'm like, so they admitted me right then. I got my office, 16 employees, more than that, 22 employees starting Monday. My son got to go to school. It's just me and him. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. So she just basically snatched all that. She got my son, took him to her house, was driving from Chicago Heights to the west side of Chicago every fucking day in a Nissan Versa. I call it a skateboard.
Whatever.
In the fucking wintertime. Managing my whole goddamn team through development, through construction. I got out of jail and I was like, I'm at jail.
Out of the hospital.
All this jail talk.
You about to go, so.
All this jail talk.
Right. I went over to the office. I'm like, God damn, she doing a pretty good job. My son ain't missing a day of school. Everybody was in unison and shit. I'm like, I'll be damn. So she ran that shit for 2 months, put all her business aside. I was like, this is the one. I mean, all these years, it's like I ain't never thought about being a man. I was like, okay. So we just started hanging out more. I left her in as running the nonprofit, and because she just had a knack for it. I mean, it had nothing to do with anything else. I wasn't planning on putting her in that role, and she just seemed to flourish well with it and communicate better than I was with, the workers. And she knew the construction business because that was kind of along lines of what I'm in technology. She's in real estate and construction, so she was able to handle that. So she's done a remarkable job at keeping things afloat. She's at the office still now. Whatever stuff we still have lingering, it's because of her.
So how is that going to work? So you're going to be locked up, and then this civil suit will still be moving forward? Is that the final date coming up?
The 17th is the next date. It's not the final date.
So it'll still be going on while you're in the feds?
Potentially.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How they going to get money from somebody that ain't got $50 million?
Right.
It's a waste of time. It's a dog and pony show.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a dog and pony show. I mean, I don't...
Have you talked to R. Kelly?
No, not since he's been locked up.
So after that 8 months of you working for him, you never talked to him again?
Nope. One time. He called one time about his masters that I had in my possession. Well, I knew where they were, and he asked me to give them to Joycelyn. And I was like, no.
And she's still sticking by him? You don't know?
Yeah, I have no clue. I don't know what.
Do you think you were intentionally manipulated by R. Kelly?
Yeah, yeah.
You do you think he thought like at some point, in some ways, you'd be the fall guy?
Let me tell you what. I'm glad you asked that question because that is key. So as I stated earlier on, I had not realized that people were not stealing from him, and that's because when I actually started looking at it, I'm like, this company here that's getting 10% of your royalties started back when Barry was managing you. And this is a fraudulent company set up by your ex-stage manager and one of your background dancers. How did it last from Barry all the way to me? And I had never asked myself that question until like recently when I started sitting back going over things in my mind. I'm like, how did it last from Barry? He said he didn't know it existed. Barry to me, I'm like, I know other managers have been in these portals and found out shit because other shit has been attached to him to get pieces of his royalties too. That was hush money.
Yep.
That's how he paid people to shut up for the Battery Studios and all the other shit by making sure that they got that money. And when I came in and redirected that money all to him, I set myself on fire because now these motherfuckers is mad as fucking me because money they've been getting all these years is now cut off. So, yeah, he knew that shit. And what he also knew was Barry Hankerson, Artie Pabone, Linda Mintz, George Daniels, and all these other motherfucking names that's attached to him know where the bodies are buried. They were there. They can say the body is buried right there in that corner, dig 6 times and 1 to the left, and you'll find it.
Now, let me ask you something.
I can't tell you that.
Bringing that up, because you said that when we were on the phone. You said that you know where the bodies are buried.
No. I said I know that there are bodies buried. I don't know where they're buried. See, me going through contracts, and I'm knowing $7 million went to Lier and people. But I wasn't there when it happened to know the exact thing like Jomo, Barry Hankerson, and the other guy. I know that Johanna Pace got paid $250,000, and she got a truck along with that. I wasn't there to see why, though. Barry Hankerson, Dermot David was the one that negotiated that shit silently away from court. So they know the truth. I know the shit exists.
But you don't know the why.
Right. Or the where, or any of that shit. Right. See, these other ones do, so you protect them. You don't want them in locked up because they're going to tell the people all your shit. I can't tell them that shit. I can only give them certain details. I can't give them all of them.
So it sounds like to me it was a web of like lies within the contracts. It sounds like to me R. Kelly was never going to have any money. I mean, based on what you're saying.
He made money off of performances.
But in terms of him making music and selling records, it sounds like that money was gone out the door as soon as he put a record out.
So this is the biggest part of the puzzle that we never discussed. Rob, at the 39th year, it's a clause it's a grandfather clause that the industry has where every artist gets the ability to do terminations and get all of their masters back as well as their publishing. Rob's 39th year ended last year. This year while he was on trial. So at this point, he can never get his shit back.
That's a lie. There's no such thing of a 39th year clause. It's a 25-year clause. Because if it was a 39th year, Rob wouldn't be eligible for no masters. It's a 25-year clause. And every 25 years, he can fight to get his stuff. Which means that Don colluded along with everybody else and to make sure Rob is locked up so that way he can never get his masters. Pay attention to what he said.
You know where the bodies are buried.
No. I said I know that there are bodies buried. I don't know where they're buried. See, me going through contracts and I'm knowing $7 million went to Lier and our people. But I wasn't there when it happened to know the exact thing like Jomo, Barry Hankerson, and the other guy. I know that Johanna Pace got paid $250,000 and she got a truck along with that. I wasn't there to see why though. Barry Hankerson, Dermot David was the one that negotiated that shit silently away from court. So they know the truth. I know the shit exists.
But you don't know the why.
Right. Or the where, or any of that shit. Right. See, these other ones do, so you protect them. You don't want them in locked up because they're going to tell the people all your shit. I can't tell them that shit. I can only give them certain details. I can't give them all of them.
So it sounds like to me it was a web of like lies within the contracts. It sounds like to me R. Kelly was never going to have any money. Based on what you're saying.
He made money off of performances.
But in terms of him making music and selling records, it sounds like that money was gone out the door as soon as he put a record out.
So this is the biggest part of the puzzle that we never discussed. Rob, at the 39th year, it's a clause it's a grandfather clause that the industry has where every artist gets the ability to do terminations and get all of their masters back, and as well as their publishing. Rob's 39th year ended last year. This year while he was on trial. Mm-hmm. So at this point, he can never get his shit back. Sony owns it forever. So that's all a part of it as well.
Wow.
Do you think that was intentional?
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sony paid for part of that shit with Lifetime too. It was too many things. We went out on a fucking tour. The last tour we made, which is another why I say he's a manipulating fuck. Me and Santee, which was his sound guy, they had did 2 tours where his sound people had never got paid from the shows. So this last tour, he broke. We trying to convince everybody to go out. I promised everybody was going to get paid. I ended up, his manager, which was, his accountant was John Holder out of Florida. His manager was Mason, Henry James Mason. It was the tour where he went from here to Phoenix, Texas, Florida, Mississippi, back up to Chicago. The back line is the stuff that goes on stage that allows them to do the show. So these motherfuckers went over to the back line people and put up a bad credit card. So they were trying to stop him from doing the concert because one, they had stole so much money from the promoter. And we found this out when I contacted the promoter and got the original
This
contract.
is all in 8 months.
This is all in 8 months.
That's a long 8 months. That is a long 8 months.
This is a long ass year.
Right, for us.
So shit we done. But right. The point of it is so we go out on this tour. I get the contract from the shows where his upfront money was $120,000. They put $60,000. His back end money was supposed to be paid 2 hours before the show. They put 2 weeks before the show because they didn't want him to go. It was a whole bunch of bullshit. So me and the promoter worked. I went to Rob and said, Rob, they're trying to get you another lawsuit. Your managers are. So
why would they want that?
Because they don't want him to show. They already got their money. They want him. This is why everybody was working together. Let me tell you. So we get out on the tour. I get to the first location, which was Phoenix. I had to put my card up because none of these 20-year niggas that was around him had driver's license nor credit cards. So that's some typical Chicago shit. So I'm like, so right. So I wasn't planning on going. I said we was down at the studio. We was talking about the tour. I had worked out everything with him. I said, Rob, y'all need to be leaving at a certain time to catch the show in Phoenix. The backline truck just pulled off because the credit card bounced. So I put my card up, rented a fucking, he wouldn't come back, so I rented a fucking U-Haul, big one. Picked the shit up, drove down to Phoenix 17 hours, just made the show, and I got the box office report about the sales, because that's who paid me back for every time I would drive the truck there. They would pay me whatever their fee is to bring their truck down. So they paid me. I'm looking at the backline report. I'm like, what the fuck is Lifetime name at the top of this motherfucking report? I'm like, that's weird. So I called 3 other promoters. I said, yo, I took pictures. I said, why is Lifetime's name right there? I said, because Lifetime is doing the damn concert. So see, Lifetime had planted people in his camp. James Mason was a plant to show the demise of his career, and they captured that shit on video. So when we went to Phoenix, and I remember going into Texas, dropping the truck off, and I'm like, Rob, you know Lifetime's promoting this motherfucking show. He was like, well, we're going to act like we don't know because he needs the fucking money.
So they were trying to get exclusive video. Was that their goal?
Yeah, they wanted exclusive video of him failing.
Oh, so you get there and nobody's there at the show.
We going to Texas. I dropped the truck off. I'm in the cab, the Uber going back. The Uber driver was asking me, who's in town tonight? I said, R. Kelly. He said, R. Kelly? Holy shit, I didn't know he was here.
What?
Motherfuckers didn't promote the thing. So I'm wondering, like, how the fuck is this is a 10,000 seat auditorium and they ain't sold but 300 or 400 tickets the day of the show.
Intentionally, you're saying.
Exactly. They never promoted it or did shit. And then that's where they had this big thing set up in Texas where they went out on the stage and the girl's mother ran out and they got into the auditorium. Y'all heard about that. And the big fight and all that shit that took place. That was designed to show him coming out in handcuffs. I disrupted that. I didn't know because it was some chick on the stage that he was trying to holler at. When the police took everybody off stage, they took her. He was asking where she was to Santee, which is his stage guy. So I don't know I thought it was maybe a family member. I went to go find them and bring them back. And outside, they had all these cameras set up with helicopters and shit. And Azriel's mother was in the car saying, he attacked me on stage and da-da-da-da-da and all this shit. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened. You ran on stage and attacked him. And the young lady was there too, and she told the same story I did. They ended up arresting her. I'm looking at Lifetime's banners all over the fucking place, and they were basically trying to show the demise of R. Kelly.
On camera.
Yeah.
So why never no lawsuit against Lifetime?
All that was coming. Had he not got, you got to realize, we dealing with money from shows. He ain't got no other money to hire lawyers, and we talking about an industry that wants him gone now.
But everything you're saying, you see why people thought you were the manager, right?
You did everything. In that 8 months, that was a long 8 months.
Yeah, it was.
That's why people thought you were the manager.
I can understand. I'm not here to dispute that. I'm here to set the record straight. I was not his manager. Manager gets paid.
You weren't getting paid.
He gave me over $300,000. No, I was investing.
Right.
And that time was still looked at as investing, but it didn't last that long.
And you didn't get your money back.
Never got shit. I got a building indirectly through that, which we turned around and, and was able to get some dividends off of that. But no, never.
So two more things we're going to touch on, and then
we'll let you
guys go.
Yeah.
Number one, since you have dug into this whole financial circus, have you seen where there were possibly payoffs for some of these girls?
Hell yeah.
All of them?
I said $100 million in promissory notes. That was to pay women off.
And how long was that going to last? Was this like he would still be paying if he had money to 2040?
Right now. Had I not redirected him into an account that he had, them payments would still be going out today. That was as of 2019. The first quarter in 2019, they never got any more money no more.
How many girls are we talking?
Well, okay, so we can't talk about girls. We talk about corporations that were set up.
Right. Shell companies.
Okay. Right, shell companies.
Now, here's the plot that made everybody mad. So Don took money from Rob and redirected it against Rob's wishes. How do he know that the money was going out to females? Now he just saying to shell companies. Make this shit make sense.
Girls, got it.
So we had about 11 shell companies set up that was feeding out of the various portals.
Wow.
Yeah. And they would name themselves stuff like ASCAP Corporation.
So That goes back to how did you know then?
I don't know what.
How did you know if these companies were set up and this money was going out? You stopped it. What was his explanation for, like, why pay people off if you're not guilty?
That's my point. When I would go to him and say, Rob, what the fuck is ASCAP Corporation? ASCAP is a fucking foundation. Why is ASCAP Corporation getting money out of your royalties? I don't know. So I would go back and research, and it's not no one night thing.
Facts.
You go back and figure out.
Okay,
First, you got to find out what
you
state
started
it's
digging.
in.
Got it.
And then you find out the state, then you find out the name. Rob, who is Cheryl Mack? Oh, that's Mac Source. So why the fuck does she own ASCAP Corporation and they getting 10% of your royalties? Oh no, it was too many of them. I'm like, dude, this is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. How the fuck $100 million of your money? That's why we would fall out. Going to these shell companies, you have no fucking clue about none of this shit.
So that was the manipulating part you were saying.
It was bullshit until, like I said, later on when I started thinking about it, that was hush money. That wasn't him paying them, somebody putting them in there to steal from them. That was hush money to stop them from telling them about them fucking 15-year-olds that they witnessed him fucking.
So
that's why ain't none of their asses on trial.
Do you feel like these parents
What?
were aware of this?
Fuck yeah.
So the parents knew.
All of them knew.
It's like he would still be paying if he had money to 2040.
Right now. Had I not redirected him into an account that he had, them payments would still be going out today. That was as of 2019. The first quarter in 2019, they never got any more money no more.
How many girls are we talking?
Well, okay, so we can't talk about girls. We talk about corporations that were set up.
Right. Shell companies.
Okay. Right, shell companies.
For the girls, got it.
So we had about 11 shell companies set up that was feeding out of the various portals.
Wow.
Yeah. And they would name themselves stuff like ASCAP Corporation.
So that goes back to how did you know then?
How did I know what?
How did you know if these companies were set up and this money was going out? You stopped it. What was his explanation?
Wait a minute. ASCAP is publishing. That was Rob's publishing. So you redirected it to yourself after stealing from Rob. Oh. Now you telling on yourself. Okay.
Nation for, like, why pay people off if you're not guilty?
That's my point. When I would go to him and say, Rob, what the fuck is ASCAP Corporation? ASCAP is a fucking foundation. Why is ASCAP Corporation getting money out of your royalties? I don't know. So I would go back and research, and it's not no one night thing. You go back and figure out.
Okay,
first you got to find out what state it's in.
Got it.
And then you find out the state, then you find out the name. Rob, who is Cheryl Mack? Oh, that's Mac Source. So why the fuck does she own ASCAP Corporation and they getting 10% of your royalties? Oh no, it was too many of them. I'm like, dude, this is the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. How the fuck $100 million of your money? And that's why we would fall out. Going to these shell companies, you have no fucking clue about none of this shit.
So that was the manipulating part you were saying.
It was bullshit until, like I said, later on when I started thinking about it, that was hush money. That wasn't him paying them, somebody putting them in there to steal from them. That was hush money.
Oh, him the roll, Jordan roll. Oh, excuse me, roll, Jordan roll. Look at that, my soul rising.
To stop them from telling them about them fucking 15-year-olds that they witnessed him fucking.
So
that's why ain't none of their asses on trial.
Do you feel like these parents were aware of this?
Fuck yeah.
So the parents knew.
All of them knew. This ain't no. We talking about this man ain't at the door letting people in. It's got to go through this person, that person, or a handler to get to him. If your daughter gone for 4 or 5 days and you knew last thing you saw was at an R. Kelly concert, wouldn't you be on some shit with this nigga? Yeah. I mean, it ain't like you ain't got that history already.
Well, in the portal too. So the portal, because I'm not familiar with the portal. You've explained it to where I understand it. So does that mean that the record companies would have access to know that that information is in the portal?
It's their portal.
So they knew these shell companies were set up, essentially.
Yes.
Got it. So they knew the hush money payments.
Yes. That's why I said the labels were fueling this shit. Sony fueled that shit. Universal knew that he had that. Eric cut one of the lawyers for Sony had to sign off on those being those
disbursements.
Exactly, those disbursements.
So essentially, Sony was a part of this because
they was getting paid. They was getting money out of it.
Because they were getting money, and if
Sony making billions off this man.
And if he had went to jail earlier in his career, that would have stopped
their money.
It would stop their money, one. But the bottom line is he's approaching 39 years.
they get to keep the royalties.
They get to keep his music. Fuck the royalties.
I mean, yeah,
the catalog is worth billions.
Right, that's what I meant to say.
They don't think about R. Kelly today. 20 years from now, it's gonna be another motherfucker singing "I Believe I Can Fly," and then his generation ain't gonna know shit about R. Kelly. They didn't kill R. Kelly. His brand is dead. They own him for his everything he created. He created timeless music, and they own it forever. Same thing with Michael Jackson. Same thing with James Brown. Same thing with Prince. Same thing with Sam Cooke. Same thing with Whitney Houston. They own their catalogs forever.
So he was basically.
It sounds like you're saying he was intentionally doomed so they could keep his catalog.
He was intentionally doomed because of who he was.
Right.
Had he been a smart motherfucker and paid attention,
He would
to
have
his
been
shit,
in a better position.
Exactly. But his karma put him in that position. And he's dealing with his shit. That's
So
what
you
he's
don't
doing.
feel sorry for R. Kelly?
No, fuck no. No, he does need to see some psychiatric treatments right now, yeah. But do I feel sorry for him? No, he's right where he deserved to be. Shit, all that shit that he's done. I sat there and watched that man promise to pay them people. They got off their fucking jobs, went down there, did that last tour for his ass, put money in his pocket. He didn't pay them shit. That's like y'all walking out here and they don't get their chop. That's wrong. You don't do no shit like that. These guys live out at the bottom. They not taking no 40 or 50,000 to show home. A couple thousand to feed their family. They flew in, they get paid for the whole tour. And yet they didn't kill R. Kelly. His brand is dead. They own him for his everything he created. He created timeless music, and they own it forever. Same thing with Michael Jackson. Same thing with James Brown. Same thing with Prince. Same thing with Sam Cooke. Same thing with Whitney Houston. They own their catalogs forever.
So he was basically.
It sounds like you're saying he was intentionally doomed so they could keep his catalog.
He was intentionally doomed because of who he was.
Right.
Had he been a smart motherfucker and paid attention,
He would have been
shit,
in a better position.
Exactly. But his karma put him in that position. And he's dealing with his shit. That's
So
what
you
he's
don't
doing.
feel sorry for R. Kelly?
No, fuck no. No, he does need to see some psychiatric treatments right now, yeah. But do I feel sorry for him? No, he's right where he deserved to be. Shit, all that shit that he's done. I sat there and watched that man promise to pay them people. They got off their fucking jobs, went down there, did that last tour for his ass, put money in his pocket. He didn't pay them shit. That's like y'all walking out here and they don't get their chop. That's wrong. You don't do no shit like that. These guys live out at the bottom. They not taking no 40 or 50,000 to show home. A couple thousand to feed their family. They flew in, they get paid for the whole tour. And yet he out taking these bitches on $70,000 shopping sprees and shit. So no, he deserved to be that. Just from that alone, from the little bit that I saw alone, and that ain't much, because I didn't go in there sleeping. I didn't go in there trying to be his friend. I didn't go in there trying to smoke cigars and shoot hoops with him. Nigga, where are we going to get this money from? And if we ain't finna get this quick, I'm finna be out of here. It just so happened all of the shit was coming in quicker than we could figure it out, and we was never going to pivot. And when we realized that, I'm out. I can't do this shit no more. On top of he's a sick motherfucker who need help.
If R. Kelly was able to keep paying them girls, do you think he would be behind bars?
Yeah. Yeah, he went behind well.
Because it seemed like a lot of people, from what I'm just thinking about the timeline that you've painted here today. Based on the timeline that you have painted here today and all of those shell companies, which, according to you, links back to people that were hush people that need to be quiet,
right,
based on what they knew, or maybe being victims of R. Kelly. It sounds like to me, shortly after they were cut off, that's when everybody started singing, according to your timeline.
Right. Well, they had already been singing. It was coming close to us hearing the music. But it's like when you cut a song, you cut that in the studio, and you may do the verse one day, the background another day, the rap another day. It all got done a long time ago, and that was with the FBI and Homeland Security as a part of that shit. We may not hear it for a whole another year. So they did the singing, and they told them people what they needed to do, and we heard the song a year later. And that's what's going on today with him being locked up. But this shit been planned. This wasn't no just the feds woke up one day and targeted R. Kelly. They had to put people in to give them information, to get iPads, to get access to this, to set his ass up to be in a room with this person, to make sure he did this, send him this note so we can get this back from him, go suck his dick, get this on your shirt. All this shit, that was set up for years. That had been set up. I walked into this shit and didn't know it because I wasn't a part of none of that shit. When I finally started figuring out what's going on, it was like, oh, this is way too stupid. It was over with by then.
Last question. I don't know if it's any relevance to this. I know we were talking about the young lady earlier who pressed charges against him, or sued him, I should say, for the whole herpes situation. I remember you mentioning something like that over the phone. I don't know if there's any relevance to this or not as it relates to the whole herpes case. You remember that?
Yeah. I mean, I know
she's suing you.
Yeah.
That person.
For $50 million.
Right.
I know you were saying something like you understood because you've been through that, or something you said.
Well, what I was saying was, okay, as a part of, this goes back to the beginning. All these lawsuits and shit were coming in, we reading through them, and the ones that would have been disruptors to what we were doing, we made phone calls about. One of them was this young lady who had herpes, and he supposedly gave it to her, and she was suing for $250,000. Now to me, you gave me herpes, $250,000. The last thing, I'm taking your ass to court or whatever. My father gonna show up, put something in your head, something.
Right,
But
Stephanie.
I'm not understanding this $250,000 demand for herpes. And the reason I said what made me roll up my sleeves even harder was because I own a business. I had an ex-girlfriend who lied and sued me for $50,000 and said I gave her herpes. So the same shit. So you hitting all these things that's making me feel like protecting you even more because I done been through this shit. So that's why what kept me up night after night trying to protect this motherfucker, because I'm looking at all this shit thinking,
So wait up. Don got herpes too? What the fuck? Everybody got herpes. What the hell is going on?
do the same shit. Fuck this bitch. That's how I looked at it. It was a lawsuit that came in demanding $250,000, and you're gonna use herpes as a way to get the shit. I don't have no fucking herpes. I asked him, did he have it? He said no. He lied. Found out later that he did. It was a different strain from hers though. So, and then her sister came out and said that bitch was trying to give him herpes. I mean, so it's like all this shit that comes out in the paper, but I had no clue about. I'm not searching the tabloids every day looking for this. I'm here dealing with the shit that's right in front of us. How do we get this motherfucker clear so you can put this music out on my platform, 16 million, we're going to chop that up and figure out the rest as we move with gas.
So essentially, you were the problem solver in some instances. You were sitting down, y'all were having these meetings, y'all were saying, hey, all right, we got this issue, we got this issue, we got this issue. I got to get my money back. I got to get this $300,000 back. That's what I'm worried about. So we got to make sure this is dealt with. We got to make sure this is dealt with. We got to make sure this is dealt with. Otherwise, we all go down. I don't get my money back.
So I know we all go down. I don't get a return on our investment.
You don't get a return on your investment.
It wouldn't go down to it. It's like these are
lawsuits.
Well,
he can't get in trouble right now.
I had no idea there was a criminal investigation that was a part of this whole scenario. There's no inkling of a clue. If that was the case, you don't go dive in the fucking water when you know the FBI and Homeland Security then put red tape around the motherfucker.
When that music came out on Apple, did you do anything about that? When they dropped the record, what was it, like 2 months ago or so?
No, I ain't done shit about nothing with Rob.
What?
2018.
Got it.
That nigga lying like hell.
I left. I ain't gave a shit about none of that since then. It's been about getting my shit. I mean, we've accomplished a lot. I mean, my own company getting back on track to where we were before COVID. COVID happened. That was like a little getaway, you know, and so it was kind of, the timing was almost cool because my business had kind of went down because of COVID. Then him, you know what I mean, you know, I think COVID happened a year after that. I mean, so it was cool.
What was this is the last question, and then we'll let you go. What was the whole, you said the signature manipulation. You said that was part of the manipulation. He acted like he couldn't spell Sylvester, which was his middle name.
Right.
And you said, I'm going to put that on pause and come back to it. So what, that was a lie?
Yeah.
He actually could spell his name.
Oh, man.
Can he read?
Yeah, he can read.
So he can read and write?
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. So
why has he been lying? Because I've heard this before,
let me tell you.
that he can read and write.
Several times. We've heard he was illiterate.
Let me tell you, that's a whole lie.
Well, I've heard several times that he's not illiterate too.
Right. So this is what happened. This is how I found out. We getting towards the point where me and him are fighting like all the time. Because I'm like, Rob, this shit is stupid as fuck. How the fuck is it? Whatever. We're going back and forth. Whatever the issue is today, it's a new issue that he don't know nothing about. Not adding up. So he calls me to the studio one day. Me and my mom, we were both down there. And we were sitting in there, and he started reading out his issues with me. He reading them out. But he reading them from his phone. I'm looking. He got to issue number 3. I said, motherfucker, you can read. He said, how long you been waiting to say that? See, you analyzing me too much. I can't take this shit. D, you need to slow down, D. You keep getting ahead of me. I said, Rob, if you a lazy learner motherfucker, say it, but stop making people think you can't read and write. I said, all this contract shit, you could have read it. I don't like reading long shit. Well, say that, goddammit. Stop lying. So what he does is make you feel like he can't read, so you can lie to him about something in the contract, and he act like he can't read it, and now he know what kind of person you are. You just lied to me. That's bullshit. That's a manipulating ass shit. He want to see if you gonna purposely lie to him about money or something in the contract. He go back and read it. He know what it says, and he acting like he don't know what it says because he can't read it. That's a manipulating motherfucker right there.
Said Rob can't read. I know that for a fact. So all the stuff Don talking is trash. But I ain't gonna keep y'all. I know people was getting late. I'm up out of here. Y'all be blessed. See y'all tomorrow. Love every last one of y'all. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all rock with me. Thank you, Miss Jennings, for the 20-piece. I encourage everybody, if you want to donate, donate, okay? Love every last one of y'all. Peace.
I walk up in the store just to go buy a Lucy. Back to ratchet, back the fuck up out the deli, pussy. That usually be the sound of. And got a New York nigga history type of shit be proud of. New York cement my feet touch is what they worship the ground of. Every block where we suffered is exactly where we found love. If you don't recognize this pain, nigga, and just cause you visit, we ain't the same, nigga. This is bar gymnastics, enjoy the bar flip. Call scar lip to give you a scarred lip. Clap you in your side and swell, give you a large hip.
I don't understand what I've done wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. I think obviously the people aren't ready to see someone like me.
I feel like taking a dip in your pool. Relax a bit, you know what I mean? Sip on a little of that Patron. You know what I mean? Swimming in you. Swimming in you. Swimming in you. Hey, little mama. Said I wanna take a dip in your pool. Just go for a little dive, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Said I wanna take a dip in your pool. Just go for a little dive, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They wanted me to spit reality rap. Problem is, what the problem is, whatever that fucking mean. Yeah. Let's go. Fuck you niggas and I mean that. You want war, bitch, I bring that. Real niggas dressing all black. I'll put your life in the past. All you lames ain't gon' last. Put that dumb shit in the trash. I be all out in the jungle while them with gorillas even when they spaz. I was boosting them was back out. Run all up in your stash house. Tell you niggas kick the cash out. A 45 on your ass. A lot of y'all dudes is acting. Keep on saying that y'all trapping. Put you right up on the news channel 45 asking what happened. Big nigga and I'm husky. I dare you niggas try to touch me. So official like the ref. I got some real niggas that'll leave you dusty. I ain't never had nothing. Making something out of nothing. Out here grinding real hard, trying to turn the devil to an English muffin. I whip the work like a slave nigga. Streets know I'm a go-getter. I can never be a whole nigga. Real facts, you's a whole nigga. Catch the boy in the cut. Watch the pot bubble up. Profit going double up. Really never gave a fuck. My whole hood really bout that. Cross the line, then we off black. Kill a nigga when it's off black. Smoke you chumps like some gas. My father never really fuck with me. None of you niggas can't fuck with me. Say it twice and you remember me. None of y'all can't fuck with me. So high of life like I just popped the molly. Wait for a young dumbass nigga to try me. Giving them shots to the face of the body. Guns like a boxer, man, shots to the body.